The following may contain language which will be offensive to some people and inappropriate for children. Still here? Then pour your favorite beverage and let's get this fucking show started.
Forum, assemble! You're watching Fantastic Forum, the premier show about comic books and your live weekly conversation about entertainment and geek culture. We are the Fantastic Forum, coming to you live and direct from the Hall of F. Hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, as the case may be, depending on where you are in the world. And if you're not, you should stick with us. We'll help you take it up a notch. You have the usual suspects in the building. First, he is our riddle, inside of an enigma trapped in Chinese finger cuffs. You don't know him. You love him anyway. He's our silent assassin, Jay.
Fortunately, not trapped in a puzzle cube.
Fortunately. Next, he is our intrepid senior reporter. He's next in line for the cowl. He's our resident Dark Knight detective. It's Oz. Oh, you're totally muted. No one can hear you. You got to unmute yourself.
Who the hell muted me?
You did.
I
Like,
never hit that button. I have my mute button down here.
Yeah, I think you might have clicked the screen by accident, but because I did see when it went into mute. You're like, oh, he probably there's some background fan or something.
What did you say?
It's the first time trying this. I didn't know it was a thing until literally when I sent you guys the picture. So I wanted to do it while we're on the air in case something happens. You guys can send help. Hashtag not sponsored.
Indeed. Next, he is our friggin' backbone, the pillar, the strength of Fantastic Forum, our nigh invulnerable brawler and resident strongman, Moses Magnum.
And because I'm not gonna let my friend go in it alone, I got my own.
There it is. Okay.
That's right. We're both going inside together.
Oh man, there it is. Good luck, buddies. As for myself,
You're gonna be trapped in Chinese finger cuffs.
That's her nickname.
I think he said a puzzle box, but okay. Same thing.
We're just wondering if you saw Hellraiser.
Say what?
Did you watch Hellraiser?
Have I seen it before?
The remake.
Parts of. Oh no.
Yeah, I thought you guys reviewed the remake.
We talked about it, yeah, but I don't know if Lawrence saw it.
I didn't watch it.
Okay.
I'm not even sure we reviewed it. I think I might have just mentioned it because I saw it, or
I saw it too.
Yeah.
I just now saw it. It was fun.
Sounds like we had an amazing review of this movie. Only half of it.
Friggin' my cat has been sitting over in one area for hours.
Is it alive?
Yeah.
Huh?
Is it?
No, it's live. But as soon as the show starts, the cat's like, "Oh, I need to be a part of this." Like, I don't understand. Like, get out of here, cat. Like, go back. It's like, thank you. Like, I think you. Oh Lord, no, he's about to mess with my microphone. Don't mess with my microphone. Cat, get away. I didn't even know the cat was in here. That's how quiet this cat's been for the last however many hours. Like, I remember when he went over into that section. I haven't thought about him since. But the show started, and he was like, "Oh, so you got a little podcast, huh?
What are you guys doing?
What y'all talking about? I know about this."
I like
Cat don't
comics.
even speak English. The cat can't read. Literate ass cat.
Like, I'm named after a comic book character.
Right. Exactly. All of a sudden, the cat was like, "Oh, I need to be in the mix."
Tell him to go into our Discord.
Right. Hey, cat. Tell the people we're on live. No, friggin' cat. Okay. Anyway, welcome to Fantastic Forum. We got a great show for you today. We are going to be talking to you all about finally we're going to be talking to you all about the ship with the red hair. All Games Own Derek H's book. We'll be talking about that. And we're going to be talking to you all about Wonder Woman #1. And of course, whatever else it is that you all want to talk about, and we'll tell you how it is that you can let us know what it is you want to speak on in just a moment. But before we do that, we want to make sure that we thank Mr. Scott Rubin, because without him, this show would not exist. So thank you, Scott Rubin. Appreciate you, good sir. And with that said, let's have our wonderful intern tell you all how to get down with Fantastic Forum.
Want to get in on the action? Call Fantastic Forum on Skype and join the fun. Too shy to call in? That's okay. You can join the Discord chat room available at
fantasticforum.live.
Join the party. You know you want to.
Yeah, indeed. We know we want to. Do you all know, for those of you that may not be familiar, out here in Los Angeles, we have, or I guess the greater Los Angeles area, we have a lot of theme parks. And because of that, during the Halloween season, a lot of those theme parks transition into, scary versions of the theme park. I guess that's the best place.
Scary.
Yeah, right.
Larry's scared.
Oh, perpetually. Perpetually. I don't mess with any of them. I went once when I was younger, and I've been dodging it every year since then, because I have friends that like to do it, and they enjoy, just much like how you savages enjoy watching me be afraid on video, watching these movies. My friends enjoy it even more so in person, as I get terrified by a real thing. I don't even know if they're people.
Real
so
thing.
scary. Yeah, a real thing.
I'm hearing him produce a new video.
Well, he's also calling his mom a savage because she loves watching your videos when you get scared.
Hey, listen, look, I never said she was a good person. Not once. Not once. So, but I found out, because again, every year, some of my friends, some contingent of my friends try to convince me to do this thing. I found out that one of these parks is selling an immunity, I don't know if it's a necklace or a bracelet or something like that.
A lanyard with a light. A lanyard with a light. Yeah.
Okay, so you're aware of this.
Yeah. I was going to invite you so that you can go with us, and then I would cut it while you were looking.
What does it do? Is
so
this
the
lanyard
lanyard
with you?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a little necklace you can wear around your neck with a light and apparently it doesn't guarantee you won't be scared or frightened, but it lessens the possibility of you being frightened out amongst the people. Apparently, if you go into a maze, it doesn't mean anything. It's just they're like, okay, you decided to do this, so
yeah,
right. But out in the park in general, people will, I guess, supposedly leave you alone. I believe
it's a target.
It's a target, right? 100%. I'm like,
it's the amusement park version of. I mean, if you're gonna have creatures of the night and demons and all that, they got to give you a crucifix or something to walk around with, back.
Yeah, something useless.
You have way more faith in these people than I do. I was like,
hold on. This will tell you everything you need to know about this. How much?
$15.
No, that's a serious question. How much?
$15.
Oh, it is $15?
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
Ooh.
It's 15 additional to the ticket.
Right.
It's not.
Yeah. No, I fear that, but ooh, that might be for kids. That might work on children.
Dude, it is 100% a target, and a way for the park to get more money out of people that are dumb enough to think it'll work. like I almost don't feel bad for the people that lose that $15 and still
What you
get
need to
scared all
do-
the time.
Here's what you got to do. You get 2 of them because it glows, right? So you put one on the front and then one on the back, so that no matter which way you're facing, they know you got it, and they won't mess with you.
Oz, you're still working under the premise that this is a good faith thing. I don't even get why you feel that way. Like I don't. There's no
Prove me
part of
wrong.
me that
Go there with your little magic immunity amulet and prove me wrong.
no,
And record
no.
it so we can show the audience what really happened.
Man, there's no way I'm gonna mess around and videotape myself peeing my pants.
No, that's
At least
not
not
You got
until
Mo and
maybe
Jay
for our
right there.
OnlyFans, but that's it. No.
I'm pretty sure
Like, I'm
Nia
only
will hold the
doing-
camera for that because I'm pretty sure she'll laugh.
Listen,
No,
I was
she's
just like-
scared too, I think.
Even better, take your mom.
listen, my poor mom, she's brave, but she would end up getting scared and falling and hurting herself. Like I promise you, like it would be a bad time, and it would definitely have ramifications. Like I could almost guarantee you that would happen. It's not because she's clumsy; it's because she doesn't realize how scared she'll probably end up being, and she'll trip, she'll just stumble and fall, and
What
and that's what happens. People get scared and fall all the time.
what theme park is doing that?
Not Scary Farm.
Oh, that's like the least scary of them all.
Is Scary Farm the least scary one?
A little bit, but it's more creative, I think. Like Universal Studios has the better like environment because it's a movie studio. So like the Walking Dead one was like insane. Like you went through like 3 of the Walking Dead seasons in one like maze.
Yeah.
And then
I can't do that.
and it's like the little like animatronic thing telling you where to run is like forced perspective-y, so he looks like he's far, but he's really just like 10 feet away. Yeah. And so it's cool. And then but not they do like some immersive ones where it's like you're vampire hunters with like laser guns and shit like that too. So
That don't sound like fun. Come on.
that shit was awesome. I did a guy over the shoulder like poof, poof.
No, absolutely. Listen, you don't understand. Like I get it. It's fun for you all. I'm not mad at it. Like I'm not mad at you all having a good time. I just need y'all to 100% understand that it's not like this is like the emotional version of the people that like when they eat cilantro, it tastes like soap. Like that's me. You know what I'm saying? I get it. You all like it.
The
It
unevolved.
tastes like soap to me though. You know, and that's what I'm saying is this is I get it. I'm not disputing how fun it is for each one of you. What I'm saying is I'm having no fun. All I'm doing is being traumatized, and that's
And
all.
we're telling you, we appreciate you making that sacrifice for both our enjoyment and the show.
We gotta
Well, it
do
looks like you need 2 of them.
See,
Um,
I was right.
basically, what they're saying is a lot of the monsters will come up from behind you to scare. So if it's in the front, they're not gonna see it. So you need one in the back too.
Yeah.
Like to guarantee no scares, you need one in the front and the back.
This was like $30 will pretty much guarantee for the most part, but not all the way, that you won't be scared. Because what if they come from the side?
That's
What
it.
you want? What you need is 4 of them. one on each pole, one for each direction. So the monsters cannot miss. So all we're saying is for the nominal fee of friggin' $60, you can guarantee that you probably won't be scared. It's like, what about that one monster with the friggin' lazy eye though? He just sniffs for you. I don't know. But Emily, subculture girl, what she says, we need to test this theory, Larry. No, we don't, Em. No, we don't.
And then take those immunity necklaces and take them to like the Queen Mary one and see See if they work.
The real ghosts of the Queen Mary love those things. They're like, oh my god. They're like, this is so beautiful.
They're like, oh, shiny.
Right. They just walk up to you like, can I see this? You know?
Hey, you think it's just a waiter?
Yeah, no thank you, man. I tell you, like all this, like the Queen Mary thing, I'm just like, nope. Like I've been on the Queen Mary during the day and been scared, like not how during Halloween, like just regular, because it's like, yeah, there's like that place feels weighty. It feels like there's history there, and so I'm like, no, I'm good. And then because it just has like little random dark recesses, it's a ship, you know. And then then they talk about like the haunted hay ride, and I'm like, I don't even want to sit on hay in nominal conditions. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no good reason for me to be sitting on hay
All itchy.
in a positive way, right? Exactly. Hay, like, come
It gives you some type of fever too.
It's
Yeah,
just
look.
grass.
on. Right,
Grass. I got some in my backyard.
right. So
I'll bring some
I'm
next
just
time.
like, yeah, and I don't mess with any of them. I'm just like I'm on edge, honestly, all through October because people act like like you're looking to be scared, and it's like, what? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like, what if I just like pumpkins and that's it? You know what I'm saying? Like maybe I just like the taste of pumpkin, and that's I'm
Nobody
looking
likes
for
the taste of
fall.
pumpkin.
Yeah, it's
I,
just
I don't either.
white
I
girl.
agree.
Pumpkin spice doesn't even have pumpkin in it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's the shit you
it's
put
the
on
spices
pumpkin
you put
so that-
on the.
Yeah, so that it tastes edible.
Right. Yeah. So anyway,
I like pumpkin pie.
By the way,
pumpkin pie's all right.
I was in so I was out there in California this weekend. Learned a valuable lesson.
Uh-oh.
Electric cars are bullshit.
Why do you say that?
Because I had one for the weekend and it was like the worst experience ever. Like just trying to find a place to charge it. They're always
Yeah.
full. And you gotta sit
Which
there.
one- What'd you have?
I had a Genesis.
Oh yeah, that's your problem.
It what? Oh, did I have to have a Tesla? Because the Tesla things were full too.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. But the thing about it is that Tesla is putting them in more places now. Like they're actually letting people, like in 2 years, Tesla will have Genesis will have the Tesla plug now. So it's Larry's getting all that.
And then and then like when I finally do find a charger that's open, yeah, sit there for a half an hour, 45 minutes. Depends on the speed of the charger.
right.
I learned that there's 3 different speeds. But
Right.
even the fastest one, I sat there for a good 40-45 minutes to get it out. It was like at 50% and I brought it up to like 95.
Yeah, it is a logistical problem because again, there's also huge lobbyists and corporations working against them. So trying to get the zoning for all that shit is a pain in the ass. But like here in Watts, technically, we just got a new shopping center, and they have a lot of spaces for it, where you could just go and park while you shop. And then there's I think the little because you know how like Southgate used to have the little trolley bus. I was like the gate. Yeah. So the Watts has one that's all electric too, so they have to have chargers for those, and it works for the people's cars too. But yeah, it's a long way from being easier. I think if more people were open to it in bureaucracy, we would have more spaces. Maybe even like people would more clamor for more easier charging alternatives. Like a unified plug for across, because just same with like every car's gas pump or gas hole is the same. You can pump at any station, and it should be like that with electricity. Like, I mean, the phones are going this way, like everything's USB-C, and we should have some kind of standardization for the cars too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because there's so much pushback and so many people, with perceptions about it or politicizations about it, it's again stifling progress.
Now the car itself handled fine. Like it felt like a regular car. It's just charging is really that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I think
You're just lucky it wasn't winter.
Yeah, out here, that's what my wife was saying is because she was considering getting an electric car, and she's like, no, when I die in the winter having to sit outside charging for this fucking long, we'll die.
Plus, the charge doesn't last long in the winter. Like the colder it is, the less the charge holds.
Yep, that's also true.
And that's why I always say we should be a hybrid society, like in general, like be open to mixing the two for efficiency and work together with big oil and now big electricity. They're already they're charging us for the sun now in California. So it might as well just make everything hybrid and solar too. In addition, make it a triplicate.
I am totally down for hybrid because even when on a hybrid, when the batteries die, you still got you can still go places. It still has an engine.
Right. Yeah. But it's just the buses in Long Beach went hybrid, and you see the difference. You saw the difference when they did that, and I think now they're even all electric or majority electric, and it's you don't have to wait. It's weird. I don't know if that helped it, but I remember like if you missed one bus, like you're fucked. It's a 45-minute wait. It was like Sundays in LA, in Long Beach with the buses, and when they went hybrid and electric, they had 4 buses on the same route every 10 minutes. So like you would wait. Maybe if you missed 4 of them, then you'd probably wait an hour. But in that hour, there was 4 chances. Yeah.
Wow, that has more to do with those just all gas buses are so old they were breaking down all the time.
Again, I
remember driving all the time, seeing a bus just sitting there broken down.
Judging by I knew somebody that worked on the trains on the Blue Line that's all electric, and he said they break down all the time. But it's just having the ability to keep maintaining them on the fly is what what he said helped that. But and I think honestly, I just think they just had a bigger fleet. Like
and that's what I meant. When it was just gas, they were breaking down, and now you add all these new ones, whether they're electric or hybrid or whatever, increasing the numbers. So give it a couple of years, it'll be crappy again.
Yeah. Well, the thing is now people don't need them as much, so that they're empty. People use the Bird scooters a lot and then leave them parked in front of my car.
Yours specifically.
Yeah.
I wish they were empty when I was using the bus.
Yeah.
Sections
were empty because they were shitted on or pissed on, but not the whole bus.
Quick subject change.
This is a civics show, right?
Right. Well, going back to our damn it! Like all of a sudden, I'm blanking. Our review of Adventure Time, Fiona and friggin'
Cake.
Cake. Thank you, Jesus. Yeah,
I think he just thought we were skirting way too close to that political line and wanted to quickly change the subject, but didn't have anything.
No, I got something for real. Which me.
Since we're talking about something, here's Fiona and Cake.
I'm Mary Young. I love talking political stuff, but I'm just trying to make sure that I mention this before we get into the topics, because otherwise it's gonna get off on the wayside, and then when that happens, Joe always comes and beats me, and I hate that. So I'm trying to avoid it. So he just let the record note that he did not say no. He didn't say that doesn't happen. He just laughed at it like, I'm gonna beat you anyway.
Yeah. Wait till winter when he doesn't want to walk over.
Right. When his battery gives him less energy in the winter. Right. Right. Jay did command that I watch an episode of Adventure Time. Was it season 5, episode 14? Was that it, Jay?
Yeah.
Bam! All right, because look, again, if I watch the wrong one, again, the punishment. I watched this episode, and the episode was what, like 15 minutes long, something like that, maybe 20, but I think it's like 15, right?
I think it was 15.
Yeah. I'm not 100% certain why you wanted me to watch that episode, Joe, outside of the Cheers reference. Like, I was like, is that for the Cheers reference? Because that was something that actually, and I don't even know if I mentioned this when we did our review that, not last week or 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago? I don't know.
Last
Probably
week.
2 weeks.
Okay, last week. Because they did have, like, the Cheers cast, like, in that art style, which I was like, that's actually kind of cool. And obviously at that moment, I was like, I guess they just like Cheers. Like, it's a weird reference I personally felt to make, just because I was like, wow, like, Cheers is a really old show, and I'm cool with it. Like, I like Cheers. But I was like, why is Cheers, like, what's on? And that's it specifically. But after watching that episode, I was like, oh, okay, that's why Cheers is on. Right? No?
Right.
Okay. And I guess I should, and don't get me wrong, we do get like some background on the, oh man, is it the Ice King is what they call him?
Yeah.
We do get some
Basically,
Mhm.
you weren't connecting the Ice King to Simon Petrikov.
Right.
This episode shows how Simon became the Ice King.
Got it. And so if I'd seen that episode, at least I would have been like, oh, that's the same guy. Even though I will have to say that he does look younger still in Fiona and Cake. Like, I may not have known personally still, just because I could be dense at times.
Mm.
Just gonna let
But-
that sit there.
But I don't know. Like, I'm just like, it definitely gives you like a little bit of like, but do they talk about where that crown came from at any point in Adventure Time?
I don't think so.
Mm.
It's just an artifact, like the Enchiridion.
Like the Enchiridion?
Yeah. You didn't watch the latest episodes of Fiona and Cake?
Oh no, I haven't yet.
And then
Okay.
there's the game. Was it the game? The Search for the Enchiridion 2, right? Jay, is that what it was? Was it a game or was it a?
I think it was a game, yeah.
Yeah. So the Enchiridion is basically like almost like a Necronomicon type artifact that kind of bridges this world, and now we get, well, spoilers in the newer episodes, the Lich is back and he's so fucking metal. Like, just the design, like when I first saw him, I was like, it just looks so cool. Like, it's almost out of place in a sense, but not really, and it's kind of same with Final Space too, like all these void gods or shapeless ones for you comic book people that get your neo-paganism from Doctor Strange, instead of HP Lovecraft. But like the Lich, the dudes in Final Space, like these people, I don't know what they grew up on, whether it was heavy metal or comics or fantasy or Dungeons and Dragons, but they designed these things so fucking cool. Yeah, like, so maybe it's a combination of all those things or just one over the other, Magic the Gathering or something, and but I've always loved the Lich design, and now this Lich that they showed here, because it is further in the future in a place where the Lich won And so he's just you got to watch it. Well, now you got to watch what the lich looked like first, and then watch this. So.
I'm just gonna look that
Did
up.
you at
On the
least like the episode, or were you just not feeling it?
No, I didn't dislike it by any means. Because it was a good little story. It was maybe. I mean, I can appreciate the bookend aspect of things with the where they tell the story of those those two people, but I think it was the meat of it was what I liked more so than like the other stuff, which I'm sure if I'd watched more Adventure Time, the other stuff on the ends would have been a little bit more compelling for me or whatnot. But yeah, but anyway,
Okay.
yeah. But I'm not mad I watched it by any means, or disappointed by it, and very well might help me down the line with Fiona and Kate. So I will take it.
Cool.
All right. Should we go ahead and jump into some of our topics? Y'all ready?
Do we have our guest on yet, or
We do.
Yeah.
all right? Well, let's get this over with.
Oh wow, like that, Oz, like that, yo. No. Look, all right. Damn, we don't have like book review music.
Yeah, like
But-
actual book, because we
I
never.
know.
This is the first time in like 16 years that we actually review a real book.
Well, hey, there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, on with us is the author of The Ship with the Red Hair, Derek H. How are you, Derek?
Hello, guys. Can you hear me okay? I just want to make sure my technical stuff is good.
You might need to be a little louder, Derek. Is that
A little
possible?
louder. Let's see if I can move closer to my.
Move closer to the mic. You sound far away.
Okay. Oh, there's a big picture of Jay on screen. Okay.
Look, all this time, Derek, and you haven't put in like a picture or anything, have you? You're just like,
No, I don't need my my picture, my face or surroundings to be shown to the public. No, I'm
you should have put a copy of the cover of The Ship with Red Hair right there.
that's actually a good idea. Nobody knows who I am, and nobody you don't know what nobody knows what Jim Lee looks like or Stephen King.
Oh, the cops do.
Wait, what? Wait, the cops know what Jim Lee or Stephen King looks like, or both?
Both.
Neither.
Yeah, we were there when the cops found him.
They were gunning for Jim specifically.
Yeah.
But Jim Lee is probably one of the most law-abiding people in comics. Like Jim Lee probably doesn't even jaywalk. Big Man 24/7 says, "Book so good, Derek is hiding." Book so good, Derek is hiding. Look, for some reason I thought those were two separate sentences, but I'm understanding now that is actually one thought. Book is so good, Derek is hiding. There it is. I get it. So, Derek, thanks for being on the show, man, and thank you for talking to us about your book, like in an official manner.
Thank you for talking about it, and I want to give a big ups to Moses, Mary Young, Oz, and especially to Jay for going past his prohibition of media on paper. That he refused to touch wood of any sort. I'm glad he was able to overcome that once we released the digital version and now the audio version, so he doesn't even have to go by the part where he doesn't want to use his eyes to ingest media anymore. He can just use his ears. Now that it's available on Audible, you can have the audio version of the book for a very small, I think like what, $8 or something. You can
$6.93. Right now.
$6.93, even better.
It's a Mo deal.
Moju.
You don't have to use your eyes. You can save your eyes, Joe. No eyes needed.
There it is.
It was
So
good
Derek,
because I could play like spades while I listened to it. So
No, you
that
can't. You
was
can't play spades. Spades are played with playing cards, and playing cards are on paper, and
Yeah, but
your hand will not touch playing cards. You can play dice with them. You can go up against the wall and throw dice at the wall. And
he
listen
plays spades online.
I'm sorry, playing cards?
oh,
Like
sis.
I have spades on my phone. I don't playing cards. Do people still use those?
Okay. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm behind. I'm living in the past still. I'm only up to 2000 the 2000s. I'm headed 2000s like you. So
He's living
honestly,
in
like
he's living in a more advanced mill shit.
you guys are talking
there
about
it is.
electric cars and everything that Joe hates because they don't work or something. I don't know. Joe and Oz, of course, hate electric cars.
No. They don't hate
Whoa,
him.
whoa! I don't hate electric cars. Like I
They're
think
just not
electric cars
perfect.
are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Some of his best friends
It
are
hurts
electric.
my heart that the Kia Soul EV is not available in America. Like it,
Why is that?
I don't know why. I forget. Like I've read a couple of stories about it, but I can't remember the specific reason. But I just know it upsets me because I would definitely get a Kia Soul EV. But
This has nothing to do with my incredible book. Please go back to talking about my book.
you brought up electric cars. They're
Look, so Derek, let me just start off with this question because I really want to go back to the genesis for this. Like, obviously there are plenty of people out in the world that say they're going to write a book or want to write a book. you know, um, what made you like decide that you wanted to write a book, and how did you convince yourself to like actually do it? Like how long was that ruminating in your head, and what was the catalyst that made you actually write it?
This is a deep existential question that I will answer now. I for years and years I will go to the not just library but the first library and then the video store, and I would look for a certain movie. I would look for science fiction movies, and I would not see the science fiction movies I wanted. I would see the same few ones, and then after and that pretty much stayed for the duration for the library. Library was became like a graveyard. It's like there's nothing new there. It's all every 2 weeks you'll get two new books, and a lot of them are reprints of Doom, and I'm like I don't want to read that. And I'll go to the video store, Blockbuster, whatever, and then there's a birthday where they had a ton of new science fiction movies, but they were all low budget science fiction movies, and I don't mind watching a low budget movie. The problem is they always sucked, and they sucked for no reason. They sucked because they just had no imagination, and because the story was bad. Like I've seen plenty of low budget movies that are extreme, very very well, and plus and it's a story. You can do whatever you want. I never understood why these things are so bad, and I was like, I know I can do better. And in my head, I had a idea in my head for a story,
Mm-hmm.
and I had the whole story in my head. It just popped in my head, and then I was like, well, what about it? Why not? What would the next story be? The next story, and all of a sudden, the whole universe exploded in my head. It's a beautiful thing. It's like an explosion in my head with no blood or anything. And I saw not only the shit with the red hair, but the world that went with it, that world that went with it. And I was like, I could do that, and I do that, and this story will go here, and this story will be linked here. And all of a sudden, I was George Lucas. I could see it all. And for a little while, I was like, I'm going to make some movies. and I saw this is how far back this went. I saw the Kevin Smith movie, Clerks, with Kevin Smith, and I said
Clerks.
he said the thing where he did the whole thing for $35,000. $35,000. And I was like, oh, you can do that. Well, probably cost more for a science fiction movie, but I can make movies. And so I went down the movie path for like 3 weeks, and I realized that you need people to do that, people that share your vision, and it's kind of hard to find people that share your vision for free. They won't do it. And then it was years before I found All Games, where I found a whole bunch of people that shared the vision of podcasting, and they do it for free. And so I was like, oh, but for movies, it didn't work like that. So I decided. So I realized that if I write it down, write a script for it, and then script turned into a book. And I was like, if I could just write a book, and a book is I can do whatever I want for cheap. And I urge everybody out there that has an idea for a movie or for a story, everything, just write it down. You can do whatever you want, because I hear a lot of people talking about there was a time where I was hanging around people that wanted to make movies, and they always say something like, well, and then the earth opens up, and inside a whole army of super robots come out, and they have to fight everybody. They fight the army. I was like, well, that would cost a lot of money, man. But in a book, you can do whatever you want. Like in The Ship with Red Hair, I have an entire fleet, not just one ship, but an entire fleet of ships with the last vestiges of the human race. And to do that on screen would be crazy. It would cost a lot of money. For me, it cost me nothing, because I just type there are 250 ships in the fleet. Each ship houses millions and millions of people. It costs nothing to write that. And so you can do all this with and the same thing goes. That's why I like comic books too. Where comic books they do crazy stuff like that. Where I realized, like, oh, there was a Amazon War. This goes to something you guys are doing later for Wonder Woman. They had the Amazons attacked the United States. Wow, that would be crazy to see on screen. It would never happen, because it would cost millions upon millions upon millions of dollars for them to do. But you just write that. That's a throwaway line. And in the latest comic book, this is a throwaway line that Amazon attacked America. I was like, oh, you can do that sort of thing. And so that's what I did with The Ship with Red Hair. I have a ship with millions of people on it, about to go into a black hole that threatens the lives of hundreds and hundreds of other ships that house millions and millions of people. Cost me nothing, and there's no reason for me not to do that. And the only thing that's stopping me, and this is the part that's the biggest part. The only thing that was stopping me was me. Like, you don't need anything to write a book. You need literally nothing to write a book. You don't even need a computer to write a book. You can get a pen and paper. If you can afford a pencil and steal some piece of paper from Walmart, boom, you got all you need to a notebook. Find a notebook down your butt.
Give you paper if you ask for it.
And steal an ink pen from the front, and you got what you need to write a book. And there's no and there's literally nothing stopping you. And so a few years ago, I had this idea in my head, and it's been there for a while. Like I said, I was going back and forth between, I want to make movies now, I want to do this and write scripts. And I was like, there's literally nothing stopping me. And I'm getting older and older, and I'm going to be dead soon if I don't do something. And I was also getting, when I think I started, there was the new Star Wars came out. Most of the stuff comes from me being frustrated about something. And I got frustrated about people complaining about the new Star Wars sequels, and I was like, like hundreds of thousands and thousands of people are complaining, and I saw not a single person put out a short or a comic book adaptation or a novella of their own better way of doing this. Everybody had a better way of. This is what the Force The Force Awakens should have been. This is what Rey should be like. This is what the Black Stormtrooper should be. Like, oh, let's see it then. It's not gonna cost you anything. That didn't happen, and that's what I felt like. I felt like one of those people all of a sudden. Like, I'm complaining about I want a big science fiction epic, and I'm happy when one comes out like The Expanse or something, or Star Wars. But when it comes down to it, I'm a poser if I don't do this myself. And so and the only person that it could hurt was me, because I'm deterring myself by wanting something that's not there, and I have the ability, I know to do that, and it's not going to cost me anything. So I opened up Google Drive, free word processor, everybody. Google. I can't afford Word. I don't have Office Online. You don't need it. You need nothing. So I started typing. I wrote up an outline, and I liked the outline, and then I started writing a book, and I liked what a book. I wrote chapter by chapter, and I kind of run like a movie. That's how I see media, as like movie stuff, and so
you wrote like a little what now?
I kind of wrote it like a movie. Like wrote each like chapter scene? I see like as a movie scene where it kind of ends. It's probably not the best way to write, but I kind of ended on like a stinger at each end of each chapter that makes you want to read the next chapter, because I had no idea how I was gonna. I kept thinking I was Charles Dickens, because Charles Dickens first I learned this. I learned one of the few things I learned in school. Charles Dickens' first hit, he was kind of a failure, but his first hit was the Pickwick Papers, and that was the first time anybody wrote stuff with cliffhangers at the end. He would write each chapter had a cliffhanger, and he would sell that, and then people would be looking for the next one, and that's how it became popular. It became one of the most popular books ever. At the time, people were like waiting outside of bookstores, and at the time, this is like in the 1800s, when bookstores were just like they smelled funny. The books were so new. But that's why I kind of saw it as that's how I wrote it, as kind of like a cliffhanger not a cliffhanger, but a stinger at the end of each chapter. And so I did that, and then I was like, well, how am I gonna now I want people to read it, and I want people to not it's kind of harder when you want people to see your stuff, like if you draw stuff, I have all the.
You're not trying to create in a vacuum.
Yeah, you don't want to create a vacuum. I have a lot of respect for people at Comic Cons and stuff, where they sit there and they just draw for people, and like they sit at a table and draw. I was like, oh, and they see that, I'm like, there's. You want people to see your stuff. You want people to critique it, not criticize it, but to critique it. Good, tell you what's bad. And I found a couple places online to do that, but then I was like, well, I want it to be bigger than that. And then I looked into self-publishing, and then I looked into small publishers, because I'm not an idiot. I didn't think I was gonna I've read movies before. I actually sold a movie to a small company. That company went out of business. That movie never happened, and that's not out in the ether. I didn't want that to happen to my book, so I ended up going with a very small publisher, Christian Faith Publishing, which I know Oz hates because he hates Christ for some reason.
What?
But they took it on. They read it. They liked it, and they said they would publish it with me. And so that's
so they actually had to like it's not the kind of thing where they're like, oh, just pay the money and we'll put it out there for you. They have to like actually like read it and say, oh, like, you know what, this meets our standard, We'll put it.
Yeah,
that
they
way.
have according to them. I don't know how true this is. They could be lying to me because I live in Los Angeles, so I believe everybody in the entertainment industry lies about everything. They say they have a board of people, a board that reads all the submissions. It's not like just a rubber stamp. They read the submissions and they decide if it's for them, if they like it, if it has the stuff they want in it, or they don't want it, that sort of thing. And they give me the go ahead and say, yeah, we like it. We like it a lot. Uh, we want to get into more of this stuff instead of just regular books of poems or children's books. They didn't have a lot of science fiction offerings. Mine was a standalone science fiction offering. I don't know if you guys noticed. I noticed this when I go to Amazon, but a lot of science fiction books are book 1 of 6 or whatever.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I can't do that. I did that once a couple years ago. I started reading a book, 1 of 6 book, and I read the first one, and it ended. I was reading. I was like, if this damn book tells me that this guy is I read the whole book just to find out that this guy is the long lost savior that they've been looking for this entire book, and it's this one guy. I'm not gonna read anymore because it's dumb, and that's exactly what happened. I gotta go read a whole book to get through one story point that should took a half a chapter. I gotta read a whole book, and I got 6 more of this to do. No, I'm not doing that. Even though the book has some good stuff in there, I can't put my life through that. So I went to Amazon. I saw all these other books that were book 1 of the so and so saga. I was like, I can't do that. I didn't want to write that either.
So let me ask you this question then. So with that said, like you already mentioned previously that you have like this world for like the world of the ship with the red hair in your head. Now, with that said, I'm certain, and even with just how the book was written, it feels very much like this is a universe that you're going to revisit. But what you're saying is you like to write your novels in a self-contained way so that each one feels like it's a complete story in and of itself. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly what I'm saying. When you go to the movies or when you watch a TV show, you want an entire experience. You want a whole story. I'm not making myself out to be some great storyteller or anything, or even a good storyteller. But this the way I see it. When I write a book, I want a book you can pick up, and that's the story from beginning to end. And so I know what the next one is going to be. I know what the next few are going to be, and they're all going to be in the world, but they don't really have anything to do with each other, except that they're in that world, that they're on in space. Man, they're completely and completely different genres, completely different storylines, completely different characters. So you have to say, I have to read the what's the Scientology guy's name?
L. Ron
Hubbard.
L. Ron Hubbard. He had a book a book series that I was trying to go through, and it said this book 10 of the 14 book Space Wars series or something. And said right in the front, it said like in the forward is like, these books must be read in order. Do not read these books out of order or it won't make any sense. And I was like, well, I don't want to do that. All the stories I want are that you just pick up and read. So the ship with red hair, it's an expansive universe. It's a big universe. It's a big world. Universe. What's a big universe? It's a big world that I managed to create, and I think some very interesting characters. But that story, once you read it, that story's done. Like at the end of that story, the ship with there. I don't see there being a ship with red hair too. Paramount buys it or something. Then maybe if they give me $1 billion.
But go ahead. Oh, were you saying something else?
Oh no. I was gonna say that I do appreciate that. Like it is self-contained, and it's the writing style is I don't want to say abbreviated, because you get a lot of detail of the world, like enough to paint a picture in my head of what it is, like, and it's massive. But I read I try to read some of these books, and they're just huge, and this one does it in a fraction of the time, and it still gives you a complete story in this universe. And saying, you telling me that there's more within this universe that isn't like, it's not required reading to read this first. I think I enjoy that little that way of thinking when it comes to making your universe.
Oh, thanks. Because a lot when I'm writing it, I'm writing for what I want to read. Like all it started because I'm writing something I wanted to consume myself, something I want to enjoy myself. So I don't want something long and drawn out. I want something that moves really quickly. Same if I watch a movie and I don't want I've seen you guys review shows, and it's like, well, after the first 5 episodes, it really picks up. Like, I don't want that. I need I need after the first couple of minutes in the first episode, I need to be hooked and know what's going and be ready for the next thing. So that's what I did for my book, and I would be sitting there writing it, and I would literally get bored with what I was writing, and I was like, I gotta get through this. I gotta move through this, and all of a sudden, it's over with. And like for the first, I did like four chapters before I even got to the ship with red hair. I was like, this is crazy. I'm sitting there reading this, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. So I was like, from the to get to the ship. In my notes, in my outline, I had like that was going to take a couple chapters where we're going to be with him in the shuttle flying to the ship, and he's going to be thinking about all this stuff and getting ready and all this. I was like, nobody cares. Like I'm writing it and I don't care. No, I was like, he gets to the ship with red hair, boom, done. And then
even in, because I did get the audiobook version and I read the print version. But even that part was the part, if anything was drawn out, it was that part. But that part was like really setting up what this fleet is and what they're trying to do, their protocols and stuff that eventually comes into play all the way up to the climax, into his mission. So it didn't feel like it wasn't paying off at the end anyway. And it paid off. It paid off in the execution of the book, in the body of the book, not even the climax. So it's like the climax just became a whole separate thing based on those two foundations. Like I felt that you did do a good job in the drawn out part of the first, maybe like 1, 2, 3 chapters of just him getting this new mission and everything. But you did set up a good amount of world building in a short amount of pages. Yeah.
Thank you. This takes me back to the comic book. This is a comic book show. The comic book, I don't know if you guys remember it. Image had a comic called Tribe. And that was unreadable to me. I was like, whoever did this got paid a bunch of money he stole money from Image, because literally, like I think they got through 3 issues where it was just them setting stuff up, and I was like, good Lord, we're still setting stuff up. I'm buying all these issues of Tribe and nothing's happening, and I didn't want to do that in my book. So that's what I kept thinking back. I was like, if I was reading this, if I was watching this like a movie, would I be bored right now? And if the answer was yes, then I moved on. And so that's the main pitch for this book. For this book is that it moves on. It moves quickly.
It does move quick, and I find it interesting because I feel like it's very character driven. You know, obviously there are like events that happen, but it's more about, or at least to me, it felt more about, um, you know, how people are reacting to some of the things that happen, and how that, you know, what kind of actions, and what kind of like feelings it elicits to, you know, from the people, from the characters in the book. Speaking of which, you know, the main character is Darius. Darius. It's, I'm assuming it's Lever, or is it? I mean, it's a proper noun. I know.
Yeah, now you said it out loud. That's what it is.
Like, well, I'm trying to ask you just because it's your character, so I don't, you know, I don't want to. It could be Lever, but you know, I don't know. What do you in your head? What do you say?
Look
Darius
at-
Lever or Darius Lever?
Darius Lever. I take
Okay.
the J. Michael Straczynski route, and like where all his main characters are like are named JS. My main characters are named start with D because my name starts with D. So
Oh, that's interesting. Like that's wild. That's wild. I love it. I love it. But it's really interesting because, and you know, I feel like maybe part of this, um, this partially enhanced the book for me. Is like because I know you as a person, it's like I could kind of see some of the parts of Darius that are parts of you. You know, like, and it was interesting because it was like reading this character, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you are Darius because you're not, but at the same time there were like particular aspects of the character that reminded me of you as a person, and especially like some of the things that you've told me in regards to like your relationship with work and working at different places and all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, can you talk a little bit about how you decided to like forge this character, and like what how it is that you kind of came to the idea that this is the character that's basically gonna move the story forward throughout the Ship with the Red Hair?
back when I was learning how to read and write, or I'll read about a bunch of novelists tell you how to write a story and everything. They always say that your characters should speak for themselves, and I tried that a couple times, and on other stuff I would write, but it's best when you don't have to think about what your character would do, and when you're writing, it just happens. Like you're just writing, and all of a sudden, what do you think? What do you think the character would do next? Oh, I don't know. Well, that's not good. That's something wrong with the character because you didn't write it correctly. Because you should know. You should always know what. Like if you're watching a Spider-Man or something, and he sees what if Spider-Man saw people robbing his bank. What would he do? I'm not sure. Like would he jump in? Like, of course you know what he would do. He would jump in. You don't even think about it. So for Darius, that what I for literally each step of the because I had to, because I was writing him. I had to think of what would he do. Like and so it kind of became what would I do for a little bit. Oh, I would do this, and so okay, so
Right.
do that, and so that's what I do, and then wherever that went, that's what happened. Like for one an example of that, when the whole mission starts, there's a scene where he's in the middle of fleet conference, and he stands up and says, "That's insane," because I was like, if somebody told me this, if somebody said what they just said on screen, I would stand up, I would say, that's crazy. And so that's what I did. That's what I wrote. And then things spiraled off of there. And so basically I just to answer your question quickly, I just do what I would do, and have the care, and at some point, if you do it right, if you do it enough, at some point the character starts to literally speak for themselves. I was reading how to write screenplay book, and I think about Stephen King or something. He's like, no, the characters will like almost jump off the page and say, no, I want to do this. Like at this point, I want to do this, and I don't want to do that. even though that's where the plot's supposed to go, I'll do this. And then if you're a decent writer, once again, I'm calling myself a good writer. If you're a good writer, then if that spirals the plot off of something else, then that's what you write. That's where the story goes. You go where the story goes. You let the characters. Oh, it's another thing. Every creator I've seen says, "Oh, let the characters control. Let the characters run the ship," and that's true. You let the characters like control the story, and if you do that, you and sometimes you kind of get off track, but sometimes it's a better track. Sometimes if it's a worse track, then you can take the hand of God since you're the writer and erase it and do something different. But a lot of times it's a more interesting track because instead of just going down a regular Save the Cat plot line, you're going down a different road and you're doing something new, something that sometimes you're not even you're looking to do. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. Hopefully it's better.
With that said, it's like how much or how closely, like you spoke earlier about a bit of your process and how you did your outline and then you started writing chapter by chapter. You know, when the book actually ended up being finished, how closely did your finished product match that like original outline that you created?
Oh, not a lot. It was,
Not a lot.
no, it was a lot different because one of the things that I wanted to do, especially, was if I didn't want to go down the same plot path that I've seen anything that upset me. Like I said before, this whole thing is based off of me being upset about stuff. Anything that upsets me in a story, I'm like, why is this happening, or why is that happening, or this is just for the plot. I wanted to make sure I didn't go down that path, and so when I was writing the outline, I was just trying to get through the outline and get to the end with the story. And one of the plot points literally didn't, like, I was going over it. I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like that, it's a entirely different change from this person that I've been writing. Because of course I've been going different directions based on the character jumping up and saying stuff. I went down all these different directions, and now it makes no sense for this to happen or for this person to do that or that person to do this. And so I literally just didn't do it. I was halfway through the book. I was like, oh, at this point, this is supposed to happen, and that's not going to happen because that's not going to happen. I'm not going to let it happen. And so I went down a different path, which was, I guess, unfortunately for me, a shorter path because it made the book a lot shorter than it probably could have been. It would have been if it was one of these sword and sorcery writers. This book one of 14 of the Ship with the Red Hair saga. It made it shorter, but I made it a lot shorter. But I got through it. It made more sense to me, and so that was. I got to the end. When I got to the end, I was like, "Oh, we're done." And unfortunately for me, I think I was kind of worried about that. The book was so short. I was like, "This is more of a short story." Like, well, then, but the thing is, if it's a short story, then guess what? It's a short story because you shouldn't be sitting there watching well, he's saying watching, but reading about something or even watching something that should be over. It should be done.
Yeah.
And you said, oh, there's 4 more episodes left in this, or there's 2 more hours left, or what the hell? Like, why? Like the good guy should have already won, or the bad guy should have already won, or something should have happened where we shouldn't be sitting here. And I didn't want to do that for the book too. So
it is. There's definitely like no padding, and which Moses kind of alluded to earlier in regards to how quickly things move. And I agree with you 100% in the sense that like I like I like to read. I have no problem reading a good sized book, whether you want to talk about like your standard novel kind of like 300 plus pages, or I've even read of course longer books that are You know, like I read like Harry Potter's, right? Which are just like, you know, friggin' ridiculous amounts of pages. But if that's not the story you're trying to tell in that moment, well, you know, better to just let it be the story that it is. And you know, this story that you end up telling in this book, I mean, is really captivating. Like I know for me, I was like, wow, I was kind of I was immersed. Let's put it like that. I was immersed because, and it's not to say that I didn't necessarily expect that to be the case, but it definitely pulled me in much more or much further in than I was expecting to be pulled in. And so, yeah, I'm glad that you kept it, that you kept this story where you wanted it to be. And because Lord knows, like, I mean, I've definitely read people that pad their stuff, and you can tell if you read regularly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Where you're like, okay,
George R.R. Martin. I read your stuff.
hey, I'm not trying to call out any names, but I'm just saying, like, you know, you can tell, and you know, and that's the thing. You don't necessarily like you can be a good writer and be padding your stuff. You know, it doesn't mean you're bad, but at the same time, you can tell, like, okay, listen, I don't know if I need to know all this about this sword right now.
Well, it was like in the first Game of Thrones book, it was like I think in the paperback, because I'm not reading the hardback. I'm not reading anything, but just if I were reading it, that paperback, it was I think 14 pages was the description of the sword that they used to kill the dude that came infected by the White Walkers at the opening scene of the show.
Yeah.
Now they are smaller pages because, well, hypothetically smaller because I don't read books, but hypothetically smaller pages.
Yeah. So, Derek, let's talk about, you know, we talked about Darius. Let's talk about the ship. Like, where does the ship, or the idea of the ship, where does that come from? Because I feel like it's a really interesting concept, and it's I feel like you definitely made it your own, because, you know, like there's it's not a wholly it's not like a wholly unique idea, but at the same time it kind of is. So, like, where did the ship come from?
The ship came from me trying to make this into a YA novel. So, because I wanted some of that Hunger Games money. But and I looked up what makes a YA novel, and it was like, have well, most YA novels, the protagonist is a YA, usually a young woman, and then you write that, and so that's what I wanted to do. But I'm not a young woman, and so I kind of hard to write that, but I tried, and so I wanted her to be in charge or something, and I was like, well, what would happen if you went on a battleship and you went to the main deck and you found out that, well, who's in charge? Who's in charge of you? Land on the main deck. Who's in charge here? And a girl in a white skirt comes out, and she's like, I'm in charge. Like, what the hell? What? And then and you go from there. And that's kind of the way I saw. Like, I wanted something big. I wanted someone who's in charge that probably not that they shouldn't be in charge, but that you wouldn't see them as someone who's in charge. And how would that go?
Typical.
Yeah, how would that go when they had to interact with other people? Not even their enemies, but people that are supposed to kind of look out for them and care and help them out, and instead they turn into their enemies or put them on a footing that kind of makes them their enemies. So that's how I built that, and then you kind of have to build out from there and say, well, how did she get that? Is there like, did she get voted? Like what would happen if we had an election tomorrow and all of a sudden like Megan Thee Stallion and Britney Spears were on the ballot. Like who? Like would you vote for them? Like I wouldn't, but I'm telling like if Taylor Swift were on the ballot, like if like there is a possibility now, especially now that something like that could happen. Like Taylor Swift could be the governor of California if she wanted to. And what would happen if that happened? And so I thought this. Let me write that. And then once I started writing that, I'd like to well like was this person elected? Like well no, has to be more sci-fi than that. So it kind of made it into like a royalty type thing, and then and from that goes to well what gives her command over these people. Like what would make people follow her? As like oh if they saw her as a mother figure, a protector type person, and what will cause that? Well, she has complete control of the ship. What does that mean? Well, that means she has complete control of the ship mentally. She can do whatever she wants. Basically, with her mind, she's not plugged into. At one point, she wasn't plugged up to a bunch of wires. But then I changed that because I thought it would be better if she wasn't plugged up to a bunch of wires. And plus, I also saw in what was the show Battlestar Galactica they had kind of the same thing, where they had people controlling the main ships, but they were in a vat of milk with a bunch of wires plugged into them. Like, well, I don't want that. And so basically, you just go from there, and then you write yourself out of it. I think it's a good thing to put yourself in a corner and then have to write yourself out of it. And so that's what a lot of the themes of this book is me coming up with something and then trying to write myself out of it within a few chapters.
Yeah, I mean the character of the ship, I was just it was very vivid to me, and I just loved the concept. And especially just the whole idea that it's okay, like the people on the ship kind of see it as this person sacrificing themselves for all the rest of them, and that kind of concept, and just the fact that even the ship herself is sees her role as like you said, to kind of take care of all these people. These are all my people, these are all my family. And it was a really cool and interesting concept. And of course the juxtapositioning of that concept versus the mill ships, for instance, you know what I'm saying? And knowing that this fleet, all of these people on these different ships have ended up evolving in completely different ways to what it's like for humanity to be surviving in space on ships, and and just the natural consequences of that. So
today we're all on a spaceship. We call it Earth, the planet Earth, and we have all these different people in control and different factions and stuff, and everybody does their own thing, kind of, but they're all still connected, which is kind of. And it's weird when something happens that somebody says, "Hey, we need to do this," or "We should do this," and people and other countries say, "No, we don't want to do that." And you're like, "Yeah, but we need to do this." Yeah, but I don't want to do that, so we're not doing that, even though it affects other people, other countries negatively.
Right.
You can kind of understand why maybe the leader of the Philippines doesn't want to. Get rid of coal power or get rid of fossil fuels, or maybe why Saudi Arabia doesn't want to get rid of fossil fuels, but they have their own things to worry about, and what they're working on, even though we're all in this together, they still have their own things to worry about, and so that's what the Ship with Red Hair kind of touches on a little bit, where all these other fleets in the ships in the fleet have their own things to worry about, and you kind of because it's a story, you have to ramp it up. And so now, what the thing isn't just higher fuel prices or something. It's everybody's gonna get pulled into a black hole and get killed because we don't know what's going on. They don't want it to happen, you can't fault them for not wanting that. I can't fault somebody for not wanting to go to a black hole. Like what would you do? Like what would you expect somebody else to do? If you were told them, oh, we're gonna kill your family tomorrow. Well, what can I do to stop it? Well, you can, if you kill this lady, then your family won't get killed. Well, I'm gonna kill this lady. Well, that's bad. You shouldn't be killing ladies. That's a bad thing. But you got to see what their point is. You can see their side of it, and so that's what I
And that's where I really liked. There's a line in the book where it's the existentialist line. This is where the ship puts her point and says like, well, we're gonna die, or we're just gonna end floating endlessly in space, continuing doing nothing, just trying to eke out survival. If we go through it, we can go, maybe we'll find something else, maybe it'll take us to the next step, or we'll die. But if we don't try, we won't know. And it's that weird it's an existentialist dilemma, and it's a decision that she made for her ship, and it's like they're on board, like
her ship's on board, but everybody else is not on board because and the thing and the way you can see it is like they've been traveling through space with nowhere to go for hundreds and hundreds of years. And people aren't cool with that. Most people are cool with that because they don't care. But some people want something new, and she wants something new. She wants to collapse this star, make a black hole, transform into a wormhole, and fly through that. And like you can kind of see, well, there's no reason for us to do that. But she's like, yes, there is. Because I don't want to. I'm tired of flying with nowhere to go. I want to go somewhere. So that's the main thrust of the book, of the plot of the that's the main movement of the story.
It is like, when you talk about somebody put in power, and it's like that is technically a self-serving thought, but it's like we're all individuals, and when somebody becomes the caretaker for this whole crew, it's like shit. Again, it's existential dilemma. It's like, you don't want somebody in public service that isn't serving the public, and that's kind of where the other council is at in the book too. And they're like, and they didn't even trust this guy to really collect the data. No, you're already you're just the patsy,
The main character, Darius, is like Moses said, it's kind of a patsy, where he's given one job, but he's just there to do another job that he doesn't even know about. But I kind of based him on not really Indiana Jones, but I remember seeing something about Indiana Jones that said, look, if Indiana Jones was not even there, everything would have gone exactly the same. Like Indiana Jones had no effect on the Raiders of the Lost Ark movie at all. Like if he got killed, if he got ran over by the boulder in the first scene, everything else in that movie would have happened exactly the same. And so that's kind of how I wrote. I want to say, well, he's not a Superman. He's not like a Tom Cruise guy. I hate those guys too, where all of a sudden it's like, well, wait a minute. The world would have been destroyed if this one guy hadn't made that one jump and his foot hadn't hit that right. Like if he hadn't drove this car off these steps and it didn't roll back onto its tires correctly, the entire world would be hit by nuclear weapons and something. Where the hero wins, but just out of luck, and we're supposed to say, oh, that's because they're the hero. That's what's happened. So many books and movies have heroes like that, and I didn't want that. I want my hero to be like, what if it was? They always have these. What if a regular? What if to a regular guy? That is what Die Hard was supposed to be. What if a regular guy had gone to a building and these terrorists hit it? Well, a regular guy would have died quickly. They would have killed him because he would not have been able to fashion a rope out of a fire hose, throw it out a window, and then swing that down to another window, pull out his gun, shoot it, and then go through and then continue to kill all the other. That would not have happened. And so I wanted to write a hero, quote hero, that's not really heroic. That he's basically there along for the ride, and he is our eyes into what's happening, but he's not really affecting. He can't. That's not really a good way to sell a book. The hero's not affecting.
No, but he is our eyes and ears on the floor. Like he's the reason we get to experience it. So it's almost like a video game character in a sense. You know, like the world's just bigger than you, and you're there, and some of your choices affect things, but you know, realistically, his choices affecting things happen halfway through the book because it's like he had no choice up until then, and then it's like, oh shit, my tablet turned into a spider. You know?
Right.
You know, all of a sudden you realize you're assassin. Like what you do? Like Jay, what would you do tomorrow if you got a phone call saying kill the mayor of Los Angeles? You have to do it, and you're like, I'm sure you would not want to do that. But what do they say? Well, it's already in your Kia Soul already has a bomb in it, and so it's already gonna blow up. And like you're kind of like, well, what am I supposed to do about that? That's where I put my main character at, like in that sort of situation.
Yeah, and it kind of like it gives me those like Blade Runner vibes, you know, like in that sense. Although Deckard was a little different, more, you know, he had more of a reason aside from just a sideways promotion like this book, you know. But I do like the fact that it's a regular guy and he has opinions on it. Like once he realized, like, no, like we can't just do that. Like there's got to be a different option. But you know, nobody listens. So because he is a regular guy,
like we all have bosses, and all of our bosses always make decisions that we don't agree with. I've had a lot of bosses that made a lot of decisions that I thought were dumb decisions, but you do what they're doing. So if you have a strong enough opinion, you should be able to say, no, I'm not doing that, or we're not going to do that, or that's not going to happen. But a lot of times, everything's put in place without you being. You couldn't stop it if you wanted. You can quit and walk out tomorrow, and guess what? They're still going to do that. And so now you're sitting there. Well, if I were there, I could do something different. But who knows? Right? Read the book to learn more about my thoughts on that.
Now, Derek, with that, like, you know, just now with what you just said in regards to doing things different, like, you know, obviously the Ship with Red Hair is done. You know, it's a complete work, out now, and wherever you buy books. What, like, now in retrospect, being like having a little bit of distance from it, what would you wanted to have done different about writing or creating this book? Whether that be something with the story, something with one of the characters, like what if anything do you feel like, okay, like, you know, if I had it to do over, I would have done this differently?
Well, if I had to do over, I would write it faster because it took me way too long. At one point, I opened up my file on Google Docs, and it said it had when I started it, and and then the current date, and I was like, wait, I've been working on this for 2 years. Like, what the hell? I've been working on this for 2 years, and then there's no reason it should have took that long. But I would have. I think outlined it. I think better because I kind of strayed from the outline very quickly, and whole storylines, which I thought were going to be a big part of the story, are gone. Never existed. I would have handled that better, I believe, and I would have I would have. I don't think I would have. I would have expanded more, but I would, like Moses said before, I would have went into more depth into certain parts of the book of the ship, not the ship character, but the literal ship itself. Like I've reread it and listened to it a few times now, and I was like, oh, I had a line in there where he can see 50 miles out, but most of that were orchards and stuff, and he saw a town in the end, but there's like 20 million people on the ship. Like I could have went deeper into the 20 million part. I kind of started on that with the little boy that I put in there, but that was going to be a once again that was going to be an entire concept of how she is the ship sees every family there. She sees every person. She sees them as her own children. And I would have liked to have gone deeper in that, but my stupid way of thinking of let's get this moving was like once I introduced the little boy character, I was like, oh well, we gotta get this stuff. We gotta get this moving. Let's keep moving forward. And so things gotta move forward. And we didn't spend time with his family because literally his family didn't have anything to do anything. And I also remember reading and learning about how to write novels and how to write screenplays. If something doesn't have anything to do with the main plot, it's not needed, and so I will get rid of it. And that's kind of a bad way of thinking because you're supposed to be ready. That is they say that because usually when you're editing a movie or writing a script, so the money people will come in and say, well, that's going to be too expensive. Let's get rid of that, or we don't have time to do that. We're getting rid of that, and to be brutal with your cuts. And so I was brutal with my own cuts, and I wouldn't be as brutal with my cuts because I control everything. I don't have to worry about studio or anything, so I'll be less brutal about stuff like that. That's
yeah. I mean, I will say that I would not have mind learning a little bit more about what life was like on the ship for the people there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and I definitely like you know, like thought it was interesting with Darius talking to the people on the ship just to kind of get a you know, he's kind of was like taking their temperature, you know. He's like, are these people, are they cultists or do they feel like, you know, like do they feel like they're autonomous, like they feel like they, you know, can do what they want to be doing or whatever, and they just decide to follow this chick, you know, like you know. And it was interesting, like the moment that you do get from that, but it is only just a moment, and that's it, because you're right, because you're like, keep it moving.
And you know, ultimately you did keep like you wanted more of the boys' family, but you did keep the important parts that make the impact for the story. So I didn't feel more of it would have probably had a bigger impact. But again, the way that the climax went and everything here, I think it fits fine.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, thank you guys for saying that one of my major shortcomings was the positive flow. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, it elicited the emotion and reaction that I hope it was the one you desired, but it did get it was a moment in the book where I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. Like
I agree.
it's and especially when you're talking about a short book like this, those key moments, it's like this book is full of those cool little key moments, you know. And for me, that's what I like, because I'm not much of a reader. You know, and but I do enjoy these stories, and if I, you know, usually end up getting abbreviated versions in like a Twilight Zone or Yeah, Outer Limits or something like that, or even in the movie adaptation. So if I'm gonna get an abbreviated version, it might well be straight from the author. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So, Derek, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, Derek, you mentioned that there are other stories that you have to tell uh, in this universe. I wanted to find out one, like, do you have like a name for this universe as of yet? And then two, I just wanted to find out, like, do you feel like is it going to be the kind of thing like, or I guess maybe the better way to ask the question is, can you give us a little taste of what you think the next book will be?
Ooh, previews. Sure, I can do that. The name of the I don't have a name for the universe. I guess we call it the fleet or whatever, because everything's happening within the fleet. I was gonna have. I'll go. I will completely ignore that question for a second, and I will say I was going to make a. I was thinking about making a movie series where everything happens in one day within 124-hour period, but it's all across everything. It extends from like a bank robbery, but then you have other stuff that happens like around the world, around the town, during that bank robbery, during the planning and the. I'm actually going way too off. This has nothing to do with anything because it's not gonna happen. I'm talking about something I'm never going to even write, so forget it. Never mind. For erase from your brain everything I just said. The series will be called, I guess, The Fleet, about stories happening in because each ship is an entirely different ship and has different things going on with different people. The next one is going to be kind of like a detective noir story on a giant mill / city ship where where what ship? Oh, somebody's killed. First of all, it's called The Ship with a Million Eyes, and there are tons of. It's a ship where there's surveillance everywhere, to the point where there's no crime because everything is caught. Like, you're automatically like, you do something, they know you did. You steal something, they know you stole it. You kill somebody, they know who you killed and why you killed them. It's almost like they know everything. And then the main character that is a police detective in that world. Like what would a police detective be in a world where you don't really need police detectives? And so that's the story, because the police detectives have gotten kind of, I would just say, soft, and they aren't really good. So when a real crime happens that they need somebody, they can't really rely on the police anymore. So what they do is they have a bunch of people frozen from when they first launched the ship hundreds of years ago, from when they had real crime outside, and so they have actually people in cryogenic whatever you call it,
Stasis.
stasis. There you go. I'm writing it. I don't even know. And where they don't where back when they had crime and they need somebody to, we need somebody who can actually investigate a murder all of a sudden, which we haven't had in like 300 years. They would go and thaw that person out and then now they have a real detective on the streets of their futuristic world, trying to employ like old world skills to fix this type of crime. So that's what the next book is. That's what I'm working on now. The one after that is called The Ship with a Million Legs. The Ship with a Billion Legs. The Ship with a Billion Legs, where it's a giant, very a big luxury type ship, where all of a sudden they go through a nebula or whatever, and all of these little all of these alien spider type things latch onto the ship and go in and start eating up the ship and so they evacuate it. Everybody except step one small team that is contracted to stay and help just in case this type of thing happens. If the ship is infested with alien insects, and nobody thought that was ever going to happen. Sure, I'll sign up, and
Right.
so we track them through their it's an action adventure instead of a detective noir story. This one will be an action adventure type story of this team going through that's not really equipped, but people are saying they're equipped. Like they've been tasked to clear out the ship of killer alien insects with whatever weapons they have around, which are actually none. And we go through the entire thing. And that one, I'll give you a spoiler right now. Nobody dies in because I hate seeing all these. I'm tired now of seeing all these shows where we're the best. We said the best team in the world to handle this problem, and by the end, only one guy is left dragging his buddy out. I'm like, well, they're going to be the best of the team and the best in the world, and there's only one guy left, and he's all a bloody mess. Like I don't want to see. I want to see a team go in and be an actual good team, and I don't need any of them to die because they're all good at their jobs supposedly, and so that's what that one's going to be. Then there's the Ship That Saved the World, which is the prequel, which is the story of the first ships that left the Earth when the Earth was destroyed by a rogue black hole. So, like, I got these ideas in my head. I'm gonna write them, and they're not gonna take as long to come out. They're not gonna take years and years and years to come out because I've learned my lessons.
How soon do you feel like we can expect to be able to read The Ship with 1,000 Eyes?
1,000,000 eyes. 1,000 eyes.
Oh, 1,000,000 eyes. I'm sorry. Ship with 1,000,000 eyes.
Please. Maybe next year.
Okay. Hey, that's cool. Word. I love it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I said it out loud. Now I have to do it. I have to be on
You got to do it. Like I'm gonna be looking for it. I'll be like, you told me next year.
Yep.
So okay, cool, man. Look, before the rest of the forum, I mean, before we change topics or whatnot, is there any questions that anybody else has for Derek or anything else anybody wants to say?
I would like to say that he has inspired me to read more, so I picked up this thing, Elmore Leonard book.
Oh, that's a good book. I've read that book.
Okay.
Have you actually read that, Derek, or you just saying that?
No, yeah.
Okay, good.
It's Raymond Rayland.
Yeah. Yeah, the character from Justified, isn't it?
Oh, nice. All right. Cool. All right, so
thank all you guys for actually I know Moses read it. I believe Mary Young read it. Jay, I'm not sure yet. Oz, I don't think he's read it, but I want to thank you for giving me the chance to ask other people to go to Amazon.com or the book with red hair, the ship with red hair.com. That'll let you know all the places you can buy it, which includes what's the online one? Oh, good Lord. Barnes & Noble, I'm sorry. Barnes & Noble online, Amazon.com, Audible.com, and Kindle.com if you don't want to touch paper.
And it will be in the description below, too.
There it is.
Yeah, I listened to the audiobook version.
What do you think about it, Joe? You haven't said anything the whole time. I guess you didn't like it, Joe? Sorry.
Overall, I liked it. I did have some issues.
What were the issues? This is the good part. I want to know what somebody who doesn't read books doesn't like about my book. What don't you like about my book? Please tell me.
Well, the main thing is the ambiguous ending. I'm not really into those, and yeah, I'm just not really into ambiguous endings. So that was a small issue for me. But otherwise, it was fine.
You're about to say it was fine. It was okay, I guess.
I'm not even sure I read the same book you guys read.
It feels like
Oh
this
Lord.
all could have been solved with a little bit of communication.
You know
Like-
that I'm glad you said that because that is part of what the overall the high level of the story was. The high level of the story was that all you need to do is just talk to people and not make assumptions about people and not make assumptions about people about their capabilities and what they can do, what they can't do, what they should do, what they shouldn't do. And you get through past all that by just talking, by just asking. And that's a big part of the book. Thank you, Joe. That is exactly what I wanted you to get out of it. You got out of it.
Okay.
And Oz, you read a different book. What book did you read, Oz?
I thought I read the same book, but I hear you guys talking about how quickly it flows and how there's no padding. And I'm like, that's not what I read.
What? Wait a minute. Okay. This is what I wanna-
Like it takes the book itself is what, like 100 pages at the most?
88 pages. It's very short.
It's 88 pages, and I'm like halfway through the book before you actually get to the damn ship. I didn't say anything because you said it yourself. Like, yeah, well, no, that's true. It took them a long time to get there. Talk about no padding. Like, I don't need a chapter on this guy's adopted daughter and like all this nonsense. I'm like sitting there, like I felt what this main character was going through because I sat there starting to like nod off, and then I read a sentence that like, oh, gets my attention. Oh yeah, okay. And then it starts to get interesting. When you get to the ship, it really picks up and starts getting interesting. But you guys are saying, oh, I hate it when they say, oh, by season 2 this gets really good. Well, it kind of felt like that. Like if it's 88 pages, we get to the ship a little earlier.
There's still only like what 15 pages that you're complaining about.
Like,
Out of 88. Like we complain out of a 10 episode series. It has 2 filler episodes. 15 20 pages is about 2 episodes of an 8 episode series. So yeah, we complain about that all the time.
But
I mean,
it takes like 3 chapters just to find out the main character's name.
Well, okay,
my experience was a little different just because it was an audiobook. So it's like an hour before the guy gets to the ship. And I'm like, man.
I actually read them in tandem, like together. Like I listened and read at the same time. And
okay.
Wow.
I appreciate that the audiobook wasn't abridged. So it was like a read along.
Wait, so look,
It also kind of bugged me when you find out what's gonna happen. So there's like 3 or 4 different people that are much smarter than the main character saying, hey, our most advanced computers, like all this checks out. This is gonna work. If we do this is gonna work. And he's still like, so you're trying to kill everybody. And the ship is like, I'm protecting these people. What are you talking about? And everybody around us is telling him how this is gonna work. The math checks out. We just want to know why. And he's sitting there like, oh, hey, everybody says you're trying to kill everybody. I'm what the hell?
Well, tell that to everybody that didn't want to get the vaccine because they thought your Bill Gates thought they thought Bill Gates.
Your main character, when you're an anti-vaxxer, is what you're telling me.
When you're running math for a potential black hole that you're creating, it could be, the variables might switch. It's at that point, it's almost like abstract algebra, not solve for X, solve for triangle.
But that's the thing. Every avenue they have to check this math says, no, it works.
But that's the thing. All the avenues are limited because they don't have the experience of actually going through it.
It's all theoretical.
Right.
That's basically what you're saying.
And that's the argument on the other side, that it's like no matter how much. Yeah.
In theory, it should work, but no one's ever done that before.
Right.
So why would we even take the risk?
But
like there's no mention
everybody around this guy is telling him, we know it's possible. We want to know why.
Right.
That should have been the first question he asked.
Yeah. But that's
And
how
it's
it is.
not. He
That's
asked
like,
about apples.
but that's
Yeah.
how it is.
Well,
Like,
but that's because
that's
he's
the thing.
nervous. That's about more about social anxiety than it is about like thinking like, oh, the apples are what's important. Like that's like, and that's evident in the book. Like that, like the character feels that same way, where he's like, why did I talk about the apples?
I'll say though, when he gets to the, I'm even like, I guess not when he gets to the ship, because when you find out what the ship is planning, the book really picks up at that point.
Mhm.
That's fair. What's Big Man saying, Jay?
Big Man 24/7 says it's the concept of new ideas scaring people and the fear that comes with that, and innocent people getting caught in the middle.
Yeah.
I do like that the ship
Exactly. Like when they tell you that electric cars will save the future and have less air pollution, and you're like, yeah, but I don't want to have to wait in line to charge my car. That kind of sucks. Electric cars, and you come here and say electric cars suck. I had a bad experience with them, but you know that all the evidence says they're great, they're good, but for you they still suck because you don't have.
Look, we're not gonna talk about the cobalt mines and the slavery that
Okay.
with your electric cars. No, and I get all that. It's just like it gets. I feel like the book starts when he finds out. The book starts at the conference when he falls asleep. Is how I feel. Which is halfway through the book, and it's
No.
an 88-page book.
It's like a quarter through the book.
Yeah, it's a right amount of time. It
It
just
felt like
other books would have been 100 pages, and now it was 30. Yeah.
It's not even 30. Like, because I feel, I honestly, I do feel like everything up until he starts falling asleep at the conference is literally all world building. Like, it's literally introducing you to the character, letting you know that there's a fleet, helping you understand the different types of ships. You know,
And it is the most padded part of the book, but it's still like all of that is useful information.
I do
It's
appreciate.
literally no padding. That's the whole thing. It's no padding. It's just it's literally the foundation for that helps you understand everything else that happens after the fact. I feel.
I do appreciate that the ship has to tell him like 3 or 4 times, like we're not asking you for permission. Like, this is gonna happen. We're just telling you want to come along. Like, we're doing this. I don't know why you keep saying you're not gonna let us do this, or we need your permission or whatever. We're just this is gonna happen.
That's another commentary on the bureaucratic
part. And that's why it gets interesting. That's why it got interesting right there, because she wasn't asking for permission. This is what's gonna happen, and like, we're gonna answer whatever question you have, but you ain't stopping this. We're asking you to join, or you're gonna be left behind.
And it goes back to what Jay was saying and what Derek confirmed, in that, you know, it's like the theme of if people would just like talk to each other, and like the issue was more so not like, oh, everyone didn't have enough information to make or come to a much better outcome. It was that people took the information that they had and decided to ignore it or filter it through their own lens, as opposed to just, you know, look at it for what it is. Like, instead of taking some things at face value, they're just like, nah. It's like that they say this, but what they mean is, and it's like, well, you could do that for anything, right? Like, you could literally listen to somebody say something and it be 100% like, yeah, that's exactly what they said. But if you don't believe that's what they meant, and you decide to ascribe a whole different meaning to whatever it is that they actually just said, it's like, how do you can't even like approach somebody in a civil way in regards to that kind of disagreement, because it's literally just about how people's emotions are, not about what they're actually Thank you.
If you say you're going to eat a hamburger and someone says no, you shouldn't eat hamburgers; they're bad for you. But yeah, but it's my I want to eat a hamburger. I'm going to eat a hamburger. It's not going to kill me. And so you start eating a hamburger, and they come and instead of them saying, "Well, go ahead, do what you want to do," they come and slap it out of your mouth. Then you're going to be a little more upset.
Right.
And so just eat a hamburger. I told you
Right.
it's not gonna, it's not going to hurt me. Why'd you come and slap it out of my mouth? Because I'm trying to save you. Because I'm helping you. Well, no, you're not.
I do like the theme, and we should point out that Derek wrote this years ago, but it's more, I don't know if impactful is the right word. It's more poignant, maybe. You guys are better with words than me. Today, where you have a concept of people have all the information about what's about to happen, all the information you could possibly want. You ask the question, we will answer it and tell you exactly what's going on. And still, like, whether it's fear or prejudice or whatever, like, still you're like, no, that's not even a thing. Like, one guy says, she's 22, what the hell does she know? You know, having like the same information that this supercomputer has and says, yeah, no, it works. This will work. I like that theme. And yeah, I just think it's interesting that he wrote it years before. I think it applies more today than when he wrote it. Or I don't know, maybe I'm just more aware of it today because of all the things that have gone on in the last couple of years.
Okay, guys, I'll take that. Thank you very much.
Awesome. All right, so Derek, one more time, man. Tell the people where they can get the Ship with the Red Hair.
Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, Kindle. I don't know if Kindle.com. Audible is available in all those formats, whether you want to touch paper or not. If you want to listen to it, this is an audio book. You got somebody to read it to you. If you don't know how to read, there's no reason for you not to not to own and read this book. It's between $6 and nothing, depending on how your Amazon account is set up. So go to Amazon.com, go to BarnesandNoble.com, get the digital version, get the text version, enjoy it, tell your friends about it, read it, understand it, send me an email about it. Thank you. That's all. Thank you very much.
Where can they send you an email about it?
There's a contact button on the shipwithredhair.com, which is on the internet. If you don't have the internet, then I don't know how you're listening to this, but you can go to the shipwithredhair.com and you can click the contact button and send me. I was actually going to set up a whole forum for people to discuss stuff on that. I'm not doing that now, but just send me an email and we have a conversation about it. Or yeah, do it like that. Or I'm on Twitch. I'm on not Twitch. Not on Twitch. I am on Twitch, but I'm on Instagram as I don't know what I am. Derek Hopkins on Instagram somewhere. There you go.
I think it's like All Games Network still.
No, I think I moved. I'm pretty sure I switched. Yeah, I switched it to Derek Hopkins.
Okay.
No, that's not Facebook. Oh, don't send me a message on Facebook. Send me a message on Twitch. Dead Pixel Live. Oh, good lord. Okay. Yeah, Dead Pixel Live. All that stuff.
Word. All right, cool, Derek. Appreciate you, man. We will talk to you soon.
Thank you guys for talking to me. I will now go play board games with Jennifer Stavros, who says that she misses you guys and she wants you guys to hit her up on Facebook or Discord or something.
Yeah, her new Discord.
Yeah, her new Discord.
Oh, cool. Tell her you said hey. What game are you gonna play?
I have no idea. She sent me a message saying, "Do you want to play a board game?" I was like, "I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna say no to a pretty redhead asked me to play games." So I'll always say yes to that.
Tell her I said hi. See how that goes.
What's that mean? You said that in a way. I don't know how. You know what?
Just tell her I said hi.
No, I will not do that. I don't like the tone of your voice. I don't like the vibe of your energy.
I love it. All right, Derek, we'll catch you, man.
Okay, and also I give Wonder Woman 8 out of 10.
Did you read it?
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to? We're going to talk about it. I'm sorry. You can. What you call it? We can. You can
I know the odds. I know the odds. They don't like me, so I don't. Yeah.
Oh damn, we lost Jay. That sucks. Yeah, this time. It happens. No, it's like we're gonna take a little bit of time to talk about Wonder Woman. So if you want to talk about it, feel free to stay on. I apologize. I forgot that I mentioned it to you.
No, thank you for taking an hour and a half talking about my book. It makes me feel good.
It's worthwhile.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Fantastic Forum.
Almost as long as the audiobook.
Yeah, you guys listen to the whole audiobook.
Oh man. What, like, Derek, I'm not going to ask your opinion about this because, I know from a professional standpoint, you probably shouldn't or can't answer this any other way. But Moses, what did you think of the audiobook? Like, how was that performance?
I enjoyed it. The acting when he spoke as other characters could have been a little distinguishable, not necessarily better, just distinguishable. But aside from that, like the narrative, like the voice was captivating. It was the proper voice I had in my head as I read the book the first time, and then reading it together, like it wasn't abridged, it wasn't edited, it wasn't cut. It was like literally word for word. So I appreciate that. I was able to read it together, and I broke my own record for reading a whole book in one sitting. It was the first time in my life. Well, second time in my life, but yeah. I enjoyed the audiobook immensely, and the price was right, $6.93 with Amazon Prime.
Okay. I may have to mess with it. I would like to hear.
You have a trial, you can get it for free, and I think you could claim it as your free gift. Like when you buy, after a certain times you buy stuff, you get a free book, audiobook, and I think it counts as that too. So.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So, all right. Mo, are you good to play the
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Are we hanging up on Derek?
Oh no, I think Derek, you're gonna hang around for a little bit, right?
Oh yeah, for a little bit to talk about Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Comic book review. Comic book
like
review.
Well, not like that, but like.
All right. So Wonder Woman #1, Dawn of DC. We're back in it again with Wonder Woman. Jude, this is written by Tom King. Oz, tell me who the artists are real quick.
Sam Peer.
And what about the color?
Morey, Morey.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So, this is a different, different take on, or I guess a new direction for the Wonder Woman book, and basically, America has declared war on the Amazons, passing legislation to regulate them after an incident of a Amazon killing a bunch of men in a pool hall.
But then the Amazon before this, didn't they kill a bunch of people because they attacked America?
Did the Amazons attack America? I did not see. I have not read that.
They talk about that in this. It's part of, like, that was the icing on the shit cake, was that incident at the bar.
I mean, if the Amazons as a whole had attacked America already, then why did they wait for a pool hall incident to start passing legislation? Like,
because they're making too much money off of those movies. That's why.
like I don't understand. Look, okay. Like, and I feel like I feel like they did kind of mention something in passing, but I didn't know what they were talking about. So I was just like, I'm like, okay.
There's a whole thing in DC where at one point the Amazons attacked the United States, and I'm guessing during that attack they killed a bunch of people. I'm guessing. I did not read it because it was DC and nobody reads DC stuff, but I do know that it happened. That there was a big Amazons attack.
Oh, you know what? I think I do remember that was a thing that did happen. Like, because that was back when they had the crossover with it had Yara in it too, right? And all of, like, it basically like 3 Wonder Woman books together that had like that event happening through it. I think I didn't realize they were attacking America though, because I didn't read it either. So
they're making sure you read it now.
I don't know. but this book basically has it so that there's legislation passed that like limits the ability, I guess, of the Amazons to just exist on American soil. They don't really say specifically what it does in the course of the book, but that's what they imply, that like Amazons, are kind of like persona non grata in America.
Basically, they're illegal immigrants now.
Yeah, I guess so. Like they're kind of like detaining them and like I guess deporting them.
Yeah, they're almost like they're a bunch. If they're Arab Americans, and they say get out after 9/11, and if you don't get out, we're going to shoot you on the street, which they actually do in this book. They kill somebody, kill a pretty lady right in the street for really no reason.
She was charging them and attacking,
and they were about to take away her kid. So
I mean, yeah, they like. Here's the thing: the dude was literally like pointing a gun at their baby. So
it's saying we could do this the easy way or the hard way.
Yeah,
she chose the hard
way.
Yeah. So,
and and we shows how it pays out at the end of the book.
So yeah, but it's basically about the Amazons getting either like Derek mentioned, either gunned down or pushed out of America, and Wonder Woman basically saying like, no, I'm not doing that. It's not going down like that. And so that's pretty much where we're at in this book. Oz, what was your initial impression of Wonder Woman 1?
Not surprised knowing Tom King wrote it.
Okay. What's that mean?
Like, there's this narrative throughout the whole book that is crap. And I feel like Tom King wrote that feeling like he was saying something profound. Mm-hmm. And it's not. It's just long-winded and boring. And it's not even, it doesn't even tell you anything. It's just long and rambling. But and the whole time I'm reading, I'm picturing Tom King like finishing up that script, like, yeah, this is amazing stuff. I'm doing good shit here. And it's just it's not. The story itself like takes too many. I understand we're reading a superhero book, but it's just taking a lot of liberties with reality, like way too many. And then it's a Wonder Woman book, and we don't get Wonder Woman until like the last half of it, like the last few pages, really. Like, felt like I was reading the ship with red hair. I'm like, let's get to something interesting.
Well, so you're saying you don't think it's realistic that kids would be taken away from their parents and their parents deported? You saying that's out of that would never happen in America? Is what you're saying?
I'm saying that law would never have passed.
But the law did pass. Like we're literally living in that law right now.
No, we're not.
What? There are no kids in cages on the border right now. I believe there is.
Hey, look, talk to Biden about that.
Well, yeah, he's in charge now, but they were in charge. You know,
He was in charge when they built the fucking cages.
Again, but it's the management in the moment can make a call, a choice.
Like, if you want to talk about the cages, here's the thing about the cages.
You're saying the cages don't
during the Obama administration, there was a lawsuit against the administration that people were complaining that the kids were being held in they were being arrested with the parents, and like, you can't be putting kids in jail. So then the result of that lawsuit was that, okay, well then we're gonna take the kids and not put them in jail with the parents and put them over here, and then that became the kids in cages. And then people are like, well, that's not right, but that was the resolution to the original lawsuit. It's you're never gonna make anybody happy.
The management
you keep saying this is a horrible thing, but the alternative was also a horrible thing. So you're never gonna make anybody happy.
Yeah, right now you're kind of.
And there is no, and it's not like there was a law that says, well, we have to put kids in cages, and I don't see where they would pass a law banning a specific country's people from existing.
We did that too. We did that too. We banned any people from Arab countries from coming into the country.
We turned Hawaiians into Americans.
We've done all that. And you're saying it didn't happen while it's happening. And you're saying it's bad that it happened.
The thing that sets off this book is this person kills 19 people. And we spent 3 pages like they make a big deal, like, oh, they were all dudes. That's the reason. Somebody murdered 19 people, and the government that this person belongs to is like just ignoring it. Like they make, according to this book, it seems like the Amazonians didn't care. Like Wonder Woman is really the only one trying to figure out who did this and bring that person to justice. But at no time do the Amazonian government and the American government in this book ever think, well, or at least he doesn't tell us that they had a talk about, hey, we need to bring this person to justice because killed 19 fucking people.
I think that like in the course of the story, it mentions that, the Amazonian government, like, makes a statement and, of course condemns like the violence and what happened.
The only thing I got is that, and the person telling what happened is somebody with a prejudice against Amazonians. Right. So you can't really trust what they're saying. And they're just saying that the Amazonians didn't care or ignored it or said nothing.
Well, they didn't say they said nothing. I mean, they literally say that they released a statement. Just I don't remember if that was like the narrator or it might be in the news report. One of the two.
It was either the narrator or Sergeant Steele.
Right, but it mentions that the Amazons condemned the actions of the person. But realistically, it's like if a crime gets committed in another country, it's not like the onus of the country that the perpetrator is from. If they're not from that country, if they're not from the country that they committed the crime in, it's not like on them to bring that person to justice. I mean, like America has its own laws, right? And so that would be on America to bring that person to justice. But it seemed like they were trying, but it just seems interesting. Like it almost seems like the way that he was writing it was like what happens in the pool hall is a catalyst for certain political figures to spin that the Amazons have an agenda against men specifically. And that because it scares guys, laws get passed to basically, I guess disenfranchise the Amazons. But like, I feel like the issue comes mostly from this book in that Tom King doesn't specify what the law is. And it's not like and when I say that, I don't mean it like obviously like I'm not saying, oh, he should have wrote a brief. You know, he should have had I'm not saying he should have pulled a friggin' you know, a full info page that delineates the law or anything like that. But
we
it's like
with Civil War, where you know they had the benefit of a whole crossover event to flesh out the law in a narrative way, and he didn't have that. He had one issue.
Well, but here's the thing, though, and that's a great point, because I feel like that is the thing where in Civil War, like in the one issue, like the first issue, you understand exactly what it is. Where it's like the issue is the law is these people are dangerous, so if they're gonna exist, they have to register. So we need the identities and power sets of all these people register with the government. And so you know 100% that that's it. And it's like some people are like, oh, okay, no big deal. And others are like, well, just because I exist and happen to have powers, you shouldn't have to know, you know, I don't think it's right that you need to know my name and need to know, you know, what I can do. Like I'm not trying to be on your list. And so you understand 100% where the distinction lies and how it affects people. And it's like one of those things where, okay, obviously, like we don't have the law that it would be like, the law doesn't say, oh, well, if you don't register, then we'll be able to do this XYZ to you. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't say that, but you understand that, okay, well, they're in an illegal situation now. And so you just kind of assume like, okay, well, then however they need to try to make them comply with the law is what it is. And that's kind of like the comic booky part of it. But the thing that with this is like, okay, they passed what is called, what is it called? The Amazon something Act?
Amazon Protection Act.
Amazon, right. Okay. So the Amazon Protection Act doesn't tell me what it is. Like, I don't know if that means like I don't know if I know, like, it sounds like what a piece of legislation would actually sound like in real life. Because, you know, sometimes like it's the idea of putting protection in the name of it, but realistically, you're actually attacking the people, makes a lot of sense. Like, that happens in real life, right? But the difference in real life is you actually get to read the law and know what it is and what it says, right? But in the comic, I'm like, I don't know what the Amazon Protection Act is saying or doing. Like, I don't know if that means like, and it does seem like they were trying to like basically trying to get all the Amazons out of America. That's what it seemed like. But it's kind of like, you have to at least tell me, like, that sounds like it would be unconstitutional. Like, you can't just kick Amazons out because they're Amazon. Like, they have to do something, right? Because it's like, if you happen to be living in America, then, I mean, the Constitution still applies to you, right?
That sounds like a shortcoming of the writer, because that's something that the writer would have had to have figured out and would have figured out a way to put in the book. And they didn't. They said, we're calling the APA, we're done. And that's it. And we'll figure it all out later. We're not going to put it in.
That's what I'm saying. Tom King's a shitty writer. Like, his acronym for ACTS doesn't even like fit.
It fits.
It doesn't fit.
It's like the idea of having a what is it's an AX word, right? Or EX word. It's like
AXE.
Yeah, but it's like using the X.
But the X word is like extradition or something like that.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like
E word.
Right, but it's
you created A.
Basically, when the X-Men route of spelling stuff, where
right, exterminators,
and
right?
then you really get on my nerves when I get to the last page and like, oh, this guy's got the lasso of lies. I'm like, oh my god,
yeah.
I mean, but you literally just got out of the dark multiverse. Like, it's on brand for DC shit. Like,
That's true.
You have a green ring, you got a yellow ring. You got a spectrum of emotions for everybody. Every color in the rainbow for every emotion. Like it's on brand for DC. It's not
You're
that
right. Tom King has done nothing new.
again.
No,
But that part of that DC doesn't blame DC. Like he's working within that system. I guarantee you, if he would have done something like this in Marvel or even independent, it might be a little different.
maybe. Like, it's interesting because, you know, I'm definitely of like some of the criticisms Oz has for the book are criticisms I felt as well, but
Really?
I
Because you love
definitely
words.
I do like words.
Like
yes.
more words is better for you. I hate words.
Well, I
I
mean,
actually enjoyed words in this one.
Took me too long to read.
not always. Like I like my words to have a little bit of you know, like I want them to have some purpose or whatever. But it's interesting because the idea that, you know, I don't feel as strongly about it as you do, but I do agree with that. I feel like Tom King, I think, did feel like he was like doing something with this book, and like he's trying to make a particular point. And but
After
I
he got
also feel
yelled
like,
at on Twitter and Instagram 6 months ago, he's like, well, this will let him know. Yeah.
oh, what did he get yelled at about?
Oh, for being woke and shit. Like they were talking
Oh.
shit to him, and you know, he's also a CIA guy. Like,
Right.
well, here, take this. Yeah.
Yeah.
It-
But
Also-
I do feel like this book isn't executed like it's not executed like as cleverly as he thinks it is, unfortunately. Like there's some decent ideas in it. It's just it doesn't quite reach. It didn't reach the reach the place I think that it was trying to get to quite yet. And then also too, I don't know, man. Like I like the ending, like again too, like the sovereign. I'm not sure I like it. I'm not sure I like it.
I don't think he. I don't
It
think
could have been
Tom
lizard
King-
people. It could have been Hollywood elite. It could have been, you know.
I don't think Tom King like talked to his artist, or something happened where like when I start the book, I was like, oh shit, I thought that was Wonder Girl. Like, oh man, Wonder Girl's gone crazy. She's out there murdering folks. It's not Wonder Girl. Like
No,
it's not Cassandra. It's like
it
Leslie.
doesn't look like
or
Wonder
something.
Girl though.
It
It's
kind of
Emily.
does with the leather jacket over the outfit.
No, I get where you're
It
coming
kinda
from.
does.
No, but I mean, it's I got the sense that there was Amazons living in America. Like, I didn't feel like it was somebody I should know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Derek, why don't you chime in a little bit? Like how did you feel about the concepts that were trying to be put across here in this book?
Well, I saw it immediately as the reboot, and from that I was like, oh, so they're gonna change. We changed a bunch of stuff, and one of the things they changed was that they it was automatically going in a darker area, starting with the murder of everybody in the bar. That was a lot darker than I was expecting. I thought that the Wonder Woman light woman in the first part that Oz is showing now was going to end up being like, and that this is what happens if you disrespect women or something like that, and you see a bunch of guys with like little circles around their head and birdies and stuff where she beat them up, but she ended up straight up murdering all of them. And I was like, oh, that's different. This is a lot darker than I thought it was going to be. And then when they killed the mom right in front of her daughter, I'm like, okay, so this is a lot different, darker. It's going to be. And then they brought. Then Wonder Woman finally came in, and she's a big woman, and kind of like I always thought Wonder Woman should be. But every once in a while, they slim her down all of a sudden, and she becomes more of a fitness model instead of a bodybuilder, which is what I think she should look like.
Right.
There's a lady out there now called Vladislava Galagan, who looks huge, and that's what, that looks a lot like this new Wonder Woman, which is a bigger, more muscular woman than I thought, and I think they did that because they want to make her more physical, more brutal. I think, and that's kind of what they showed that when she fought off the government thugs that came after her, where she beat literally all of them up, including a sniper. And I was like, that's what this Wonder Woman is going to be. She's going to be a big, strong ass kicker, and I'm looking forward. I want to see that. She should have been like that for a long time. I just don't want them to go too far in the woods, where all of a sudden she's like Batman or something, where she's too dark, because that's not her character. Is I want peace and love for everybody, but the world she's in, that can't happen. And so I want to see what her. I also don't want her the main bad guy. Well, it looks like it's gonna have to be, because the main bad guy is a old crusty guy sitting on a throne. It's like it's gonna be all more intellectual type battles with him instead of physical. I don't see him getting up and fighting Wonder Woman.
Right.
I could beat him up, and I'm not big either. But that's why I don't want that to be an ideological battle. I want to be a physical battle, but I don't see that being possible with the current bad guy they set up.
Well, I think he's gonna send, like Sergeant Steel. He's just gonna send people to fight her.
Yeah, but ultimately he has to be taken down one way or another, unless Tom King is using his CIA experience and saying that he's never going to be taken down.
I don't. It's and I guess that was
Tom King also CIA. I thought it was just David Mack.
No, it's Tom King.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, I think what, like, two things I think bothered me about the concept of this character, the Sovereign. One was the lasso of lies. Like, I was just like,
But what do you expect from DC? Like,
why we agree on that, by the way.
Yeah,
that shit wasn't surprising. Like, it's like you literally have like.
It doesn't have to be surprising. It's just disappointing.
But I guess I don't know. Maybe you guys are giving, because it's like, you got Superman, you got Bizarro, you got it's like that. DC does this shit all the time. Like, you got Hawk and Dove, then you got Offspray. Like, it's like it's not. It's par for the course.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you, but let's put it like this: like Bizarro, like especially like some of those concepts like that are like that are generally older concepts, and when they do it like in newer times, they at least kind of put a little bit of a spin on it. Like just like how you mentioned all the new lanterns that have come up, right? It's like the new lanterns are basically what you were just talking about, where it's like, oh, okay, like let's make a motion for every color of the spectrum. But it's not like they were just like, oh, okay, like all of the lanterns, like all those lanterns weren't all just opposite emotions of one another. And even when you do make them like each have an emotional component, like how that emotional component ends up manifesting, each kind of has its own like thing to it. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, like the friggin' Orange Lantern's a great example, where this fool is like actually just the one lantern by himself, but because he's greedy or whatever, right? It's like that's a little bit different than or it's different basically than every other lantern, as opposed to, so it's like it is a kind of put a little spin on it, is what I'm saying. It's either older, like Bizarro's like old, or they put a little spin on it.
They put a little spin on the Lasso of Lies.
It's
Native
no
American.
spin on it yet. Huh?
It's Native American.
What?
What do you mean it's Native American?
It's an old white guy holding it.
Right, but he killed the tribe of the women that were the tribes of women in Virginia to get it.
Why?
Where did you read that? I didn't.
Women in Virginia have the lasso of lies. What did
Because there was groups of tribes of Amazonian ancestors that were Native American, and he killed them all. And to get it.
I mean, I know I remember they say that in the book, but that they don't say that that's where he got the lasso of lies from.
Oh, you'll see.
That was from Trinity. Didn't the character Trinity that they brought out a couple months ago have the lasso of lies?
Oh, listen, Derek.
We were reading that, man.
This book is the first time I've ever heard of the lasso.
I've never seen it either. But here's the thing. It's like what I didn't like was the idea of there being a guy that is kind of like, oh, okay, hey, America's in a bad place, and it's that way because of this guy. And it's like, of course, Americans are all messed up and treating people the way they are because you have the sovereign and he's holding the lasso of lies, and it's like, I don't know, man. Like, it's like
that's literally the last sentence of this book.
Yeah, and I'm just like, dude, like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like Tom King is like, I don't think Tom King by any means is trying to make any kind of excuses for America or anything like that. I don't feel like that was what he was trying to do.
Well, that was a Trump allegory, right? That he was saying like that's basically Trump. What's going on with Trump and stuff, right? Where he lies and lies, then people believe him, and here's the reason why they believe him, because he's holding the lasso of lies. That's the way I saw. I was like, oh, he's doing Trump, but they're not making him look like Trump.
That's right.
That's the other thing, though, because it does like
seeing how he was yelled at on Twitter, like it would make sense that this is how he would do it.
But it doesn't. It feels very like ham-fisted to me. Like it's not an elegant solution either way. Where it's just like, I don't know. So like I would read the next issue to kind of see where he takes it, because there were some things about this book I really did like and honestly I want to give props to the artist for actually one of those panels. Like I liked the fight, the one, which is basically the only time you do see Wonder Woman, like I was saying, but that fight in that graveyard was actually pretty cool. And a particular panel when she does pull that sniper, and I love her and Sergeant Steele having that conversation as she reels in the sniper. And I was just like, that's actually like, that's great panel work and storytelling there, where I'm just like, yeah, like that's like, I like that. I also liked the idea of Wonder Woman giving her sword to the Amazonian like emissary, the Amazonian ambassador, and just she's like, hey, I can't hold on to this right now, because like I might do something with it, and I can't fall into that temptation. And so it's like, like Wonder Woman, I feel has had a sword with her like for a little while now, and it's like the idea of like, okay, Wonder Woman like literally relinquishing that and like kind of getting a bit more back to basics with just her lasso and friggin' just her bracelets and tiara and stuff. It's like,
now, is Wonder Woman bulletproof, or are all Amazons bulletproof, or is Wonder Woman not bulletproof?
I'm not sure that Wonder Woman is actually bulletproof.
They did say they had to use different bullets, but it was towards the steel, like their sword and shield and all that.
Yeah, they change it all the time, but the Amazons are one thing, and Wonder Woman is supposed to be.
Yeah. And they have like magic and magic armor and magic,
because Wonder Woman isn't technically Amazon. Like, she was created.
She's almost a demigod to do that.
Right. Molded.
That lady ran out to protect her kid, and she got shot down. Like, that was going to happen. Like, she was going to get shot down. Like,
yeah, they have like special bullets to take out Amazons, but we don't know how they would affect Wonder Woman because she deflects them.
And they did make a comment that says like it's this, like it works against Amazonian steel. Like there's a property in Amazonian steel that makes them like.
Also, her bracelets aren't bulletproof anymore. Like she shouldn't be able to block them with her
Well,
bracelets.
Well, they are
using
in
her bracelets. Her bracelets are like
They're
again. Bracelets should be something different because they should be specifically made by Hephaestus, I think.
Yeah, she's got enchanted armor and weapons. So
they got to clear that part up. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing. Like that's one of the annoying things about this. It's like, how long has Dawn of DC been going on? Because this is still like, I'm tired of seeing like.
It feels like forever.
Yeah.
It's been at least
Dawn of
this year.
DC is just the new initiative, though. It's not like it's an event. It's just.
But it's been happening since like February.
It happened after the last Dark Knights or whatever.
Right.
Event.
And that shit was like a year ago.
I mean, listen. I mean, I don't know why that would be the part that would make you angry. Like,
well, for me, I like this. I mean, a CIA guy talking about there's a secret shadow government. You know, when all these people have been screaming about it, like, yeah, this will give people something to talk about. I'm down, and it's the current state of what America is doing to the Amazons is an interesting place for Wonder Woman to be. So for me, it's like maybe executed a little poorly or maybe a little rushed, but it's still an interesting take on a Wonder Woman book.
I can agree with that. It is an interesting place to put her. It's just poorly stumbled.
Right. So this is one of those that I would read the first trade paperback before even really giving a real rating. You know, like.
And if you're a Wonder Woman fan, like she's the most rational person in this fucking book.
Right.
Yeah. 100%.
Like she's there, like, look, I'm trying to figure out who did these murders and bring her to justice. And I was just standing here, and your dude shot me. And when the guy's like, well, that's not how that happened. Like she's like, oh yeah, and like it has the lasso of truth. Let's ask the sniper. Hey, did you shoot me because I was fucking up?
Right. Right.
You know? Which is another thing about. Because they make it seem like the sovereign has control of the whole country through this lasso of lies. I'm like, well,
that's just one.
Does it just like work over the whole world? Like, can he just like is he sitting in the middle of the country and it's like spreading out over the whole country, or how is he controlling everybody when nobody else is touching his lasso?
That's the question that gets you to read issue 2.
That's the question that gets me to not get issue 2.
But
you want to know.
What I will say is the Wonder Woman parts of this book are not the problem. Like, like Wonder Woman, when you see Wonder Woman in this book, like even the conversation she had with Steve Trevor was like, I was like, oh, this is like, it's very cool and interesting, and like, I like this. It's really just a little bit of some of the execution of the other parts. And so I definitely feel like there was enough. I got enough of Wonder Woman, not to say I would, that's the only amount I would like. I mean, I would have liked more Wonder Woman, but I got enough good Wonder Woman in this book for me to be like, you know what? Let me see where this is going, because the concept is interesting. It's just
a lot of the book, the writer's feels like he's trying to be Frank Miller for a lot of the book. I was like, when I first started reading, I was like, wait a minute, are they redoing Dark Knight Returns but with Wonder Woman? I thought that's literally what I thought they were doing for a while with all the TV stuff, and the way it was presented. But all of the Wonder Woman parts themselves are good. I thought that the writer was trying to be somebody different. That's all.
Yeah, I could see that.
Did any of you guys have a problem with all these Amazonians having the Wonder Woman armor?
I didn't have a problem with it. I did notice it though.
Like, I get Nubia having it.
Yeah.
But it's just every Amazonian they showed has it. And I don't like it for some reason.
Stolen valor. But they don't deserve that. They don't deserve that uniform.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not that they have armor. It's more the color scheme, right? Because you're like the color scheme is usually unique to Wonder Woman because she was like trying to do like sidle up to America, right?
As much as it looked like her stuff, when they did show her, hers was different,
right?
From what they showed, so it just looked very similar. But I think that was a way of like, again, this book is being told by an unreliable narrator,
yeah.
And so it's you're seeing how he sees it. So he sees an Amazonian like a Wonder Woman, you know?
Yeah, that could be the case. The other thing that I'm hoping to get, and that, I mean, it's not like I'm saying I necessarily wanted to see this in issue 1, but because of the timeline that gets in issue 1, I'm like, it feels to me like there should have been at least like a Batman or Superman cameo or something, you know what I'm saying? Like, or at least some sort of mention of.
Oh, you gotta have a man involved for it to be worthy. Okay, Lawrence.
No. Well, I'm saying obviously Batman and Superman are Wonder Woman's friends, right? And not only are they her friends, but like both of them, not even like, I'm not even necessarily talking in their superhero personas, but in their like civilian personas, both to me would seem like they should have some sort of like come to her aid as far as like the Amazonians, you know what I'm saying?
Batman
like,
is all about following the law, so he would not come to her aid.
Yeah, but Superman's like actually dealt with this before.
Well,
but also like, this is the dawn of DC, so this thing, like, they're busy because they're done a DC book out like in February, right?
I listen. I don't know, but
they did. Like Batman's like in issue 7 now.
Okay, but what I'm saying is this:
I don't want Batman in my Wonder Woman book. You sound like a studio executive. Batman. Why is the Batman in this movie? Where's Superman at?
Well, I'm saying Batman is a friggin' billionaire in this world, right?
No.
Like, no,
he's like a millionaire.
Showing up every day, doing stuff.
Bruce Wayne is actually the sovereign.
You know, that's actually what I thought. I actually thought that the sovereign was going to be Bruce Wayne for a second. I was like, oh, is that going to be Bruce Wayne? Is that going to be Bruce Wayne when I turn the page? No.
It's like Bruce Wayne should have enough influence to at least stop.
Hey, you want cool superhero shit, man? Just read Black Hammer, man. I don't know what you're doing reading Wonder Woman #1 like this. Like,
this is what I'm just thinking through as like, if it was me, I'm just like Superman. Like, even if Superman can't do something, like Clark Kent is a journalist.
Not in Dawn of DC.
Why not?
Because there's no newspapers. Like, nobody reads newspapers.
Isn't the Superman of Dawn of DC his son?
It's his son, but then he came back. Like, he took over again. He's like, yeah.
I'm just saying, like, there's no, like, I don't understand how it is that everybody, like, all the heroes are just going to be like, man, it's a shame what's happening with these Amazons, and that's it.
Well, also, in the book, it shows that she doesn't really respect any of them, too.
She said, they're American first.
No, that's not. See, that's the narrator's words, though. That's not
like Green Lantern's and nobody. Flash. It's just all these people are just soldiers. Screw those guys.
Right.
But that's not Wonder Woman talking there. I thought it was Wonder Woman saying that.
Right. No, that wasn't Wonder Woman saying that. That wasn't Wonder Woman saying that. That was definitely the narrator saying, like, you know, which I think the narrator is probably the Sovereign, maybe.
This is the problem with who's saying what when. It gets kind of convoluted.
I thought it was one of those soldiers that got beat up.
Say what?
I thought it was one of the soldiers that got beat up at the end. And then he was telling that story of how everything went down, and then, you know, and he's, you know, Batman has him hanging upside down or something.
Maybe, I don't know. But either way, yeah, like I did like how it did make a distinction between Wonder Woman and the other heroes. Like that was cool. But it just again, it was just one of the things like and don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying that I want it in the first issue because Wonder Woman the book needed it. It's just more so like the time frame that they cover in this book is literally like a span of months. And so I'm just like over all these months, like nobody was like, dude, I'm sorry, like this is happening, or at the very least, like no, that seems like the thing to me where it's like, dude, somebody has to say something or at least make a mention that something like that happened. Like everybody's just on the sidelines, like, man, well, I guess they'll figure that out eventually. Like I'm like, how does a law like that even get passed? And Batman let it happen.
Now we go back to what Oz was talking about, how it's all Biden's fault somehow.
It's all the sovereign's fault. Man,
All right. Well, look, I give it a 3 out of 5. Yeah.
3 out of 5 for you, Derek. What would you give it?
On a 5-point scale, I give it a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
Well, obviously, I want to be able to go back in time if next month is weak, but the way it looks like they're going, this one I'll give it 4 out of 5 as long as it keeps going in this direction.
Right.
Got it. Yeah. Oscorp, what would you rate it?
I'm gonna give it a 2, and only because the art in this book is amazing.
Yeah, the art is good.
The art looks really, really good, and that's worth buying the book.
Isn't she about to trip on the cover? I kept looking at the cover. I was like, how's the other lad to come around? Is going to be able to come around to keep a run going? Because
it's a classic pose.
I know it's like I thought I recognize it as a classic action pose, but at the same time, I'm like, she's leaning to the side a lot. Her leg has to come flying around, throwing. I was like, she's not gonna be. She needs to turn it. Something looks weird to me about that run. That's what I'm saying.
There's no like you can't like. She's not necessarily stepping on the floor with this foot here.
Right. Like she could have leapt into action.
Yeah. Look, yeah, it's weird if you analyze it for too long, but it's still
yeah. And since the composition of the cover is really just her as a figure, it's pretty much a pin-up. She could be jumping out of a plane. She could be, Sorry, Larry.
No. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5 as well. That works for me. All right, let's get out of here, folks. It's about that time. All right. Derek H., give us some final thoughts, buddy.
Go read my book, The Ship with Red Hair, at theshipwithredhair.com or amazon.com. And go read Amazon. What do you call it? Wonder Woman #1. It's a pretty good book. And don't forget to say hi to Jennifer Stavros, except for you, Oz, because I don't know what's going on with you.
There it is. Oscorp, final thoughts.
So, yeah, I guess I survived this stuff. Probably not going to drink it again unless they sponsor us. In which case, I'll drink it all the time.
There it is. Moses Magnum, final thoughts.
I had mine. It was pretty much like drinking a Monster, but I don't know how much of the Monster stuff it actually has. It might be just the flavoring. So I don't know how much caffeine it has or anything. But yeah, it's definitely too weak. It needs to be stronger.
There it is. For the entire Fantastic Forum, thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We do appreciate you. We'll be back next week. So make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell and all that jazz. Let us know what you do want to hear more about. Let us know if you didn't like to hear something for some reason. We'll take the critique, so that's cool. But until then, we're the Fantastic Forum. Good night.
Classic ending, I see.